Oh boy, guys. It's finally here. We're live. We are live with our Friday night D&D extravaganza. Thank you, one and all, for joining us on this fantastical 5th edition escapade that we have prepared for you this evening. I am your diabolical dungeon master, Will Tomorrow, and with me are 4 friends here to help guide you through the wondrous and mythical chronicle that is, The Rod of 7 Realms. I'm not sure if, I should probably, you need like an echo effect for it. I can't even explain how epic this is. This has been months in the planning and the formulating. Indeed, we got this team together. What was it, guys? Like March? I think it was probably March when we got everybody assembled, and then I had to move a little, and then there was chaos, right? But we've been working on this for months, and boy, we are pleased to finally present it to you. Right? This is the first of many of Friday nights of wonder and adventure that, oh boy, you're barely going to be able to stand, frankly. But let's get started with a bit of housekeeping. This is, in fact, live theater. Right, R.E. I'm throwing the R.E. out right now, just getting ahead of it. You know, I said when we started this that we hadn't earned the R.E. yet. But I feel at this juncture, just given the fact that we've been through so much together already off screen, this is theater, right, with R.E., right? But it also happens within the confines of the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. That being said, like any group of players worth their salt, we're not using 100% vanilla D&D 5e. You know, we got a couple of house rules in here that we're going to just mention here real briefly, right, so that you grognards aren't terribly confused when things start to get all funky. Right, first off, right, we are using critical hit and fumble tables. Right now, this, although we haven't really gotten into it yet, is a multiverse adventure that contains the entire cosmology and lore of the Forgotten Realms and plus. Right, so things, I believe, at a college of wizardry, the technical term would be are getting fucky. Right, and as such, there are 200 critical hit and 200 critical fumble effects that can proc on the roll of a 1 or 20. Now, you might be saying to yourself, 5% of the time, that's ridiculous. And I agree. So when they roll a 1 and or a 20 on the die, then a d6 will be rolled, and only upon the roll of a 5 or a 6 will the additional effect proc. Otherwise, as normal, it will be an automatic miss or critical hit damage. Right? Secondly, initiative. Right? I like to keep these people on their toes, as well as you, dear viewer. Right? So initiative changes every round here at Lore. Right? That means everybody goes through their turn, initiative is rolled again. Right? And next time it might be the big bad going first as opposed to last. Oh, and let's convolute that for the players just a little more by telling you, dear viewer, that they are not aware of at which point their adversaries are going in the initiative step. No, it could be after any one of their turns or before any of their turns. They go in blind to the order of combat with the exception of them and their allies. I think that pretty much covers the weirdness there. Oh, did I mention that there is a robust potion shop? That's right. At some point in this adventure, it is near certain that our champions are going to be felled by a mightier foe, and that's where you, dear viewer, can come in. And, you know, we aren't the lecherous, pure profit sort. So you will note that as you survey our potion menu, all of them can be purchased with bits, i.e., the gold dragons, the real cash, but also your loyal viewership. That's how you say those two words when you string them together, loyal viewership, right? For every moment you spend watching Lore, you accrue drams of fate that can be compiled into such an amount to then purchase a potion yourself from the menu, up to and including the ability to resurrect a champion. It's, well, of course, the wild magic table is going to be bananas. Read the potions yourself. Some of them are delightful. Right. But with that, I think that is enough of the housekeeping. Let's introduce our dramatis personae here. All right, I'm Will tomorrow. I run things at Lore. If you've been here for 2 minutes, you've seen me probably too much. You know that I love to hear myself talk and be the center of attention. But let's turn the center of attention ever so briefly away from my person and onto Roxanne Thompson. Please, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and the character you will be portraying this evening?
Sure. Hi, my name is Roxanne Thompson. You can find me all over Twitch. I'm in several different live streams right now, so I'm sure if you're here and you've heard my name, you've probably watched me go crazy on Call of Cthulhu or any of that. But this is my first D&D live stream, so I'm excited to see how we do with this. The character I'm playing tonight is Taliesin Coldiron, a dwarven ranger. I call her a wandering scion of Clan Stoneshaft. She left the depths of the hold and went ranging, and here we are. So let's see. She doesn't move super fast. She got those little short legs, but she can shoot an arrow faster than you can blink an eye. So
What she lacks in speed, in my experience with her thus far, she more than makes up for in enthusiasm. Excellent, excellent. Moving on again in no particular order. Robert Dorgan. I keep wanting to say like Drogan, right? It's the RO agreement in your last name. I've known you for months now, and I want to every time Drogan. It's Drogan, right? Like it sounds more sinister. It's got that dragon ring to it. But Robert Dorgan, please tell us a little bit about yourself and the character you will be portraying this evening for us.
Well, speaking of Dorgan, my last name is an anagram for dragon, which I think is the coolest thing about me, which shows you how much of a nerd I am. I've been playing D&D since 1978 when I discovered it in fifth grade, and I am playing Rife. He is a reborn fighter, which means he's not undead, but he's not exactly living. And he lived in Netheril, an ancient city or empire before a cataclysm, and spent quite a bit of time in the Shadowfell, which is how he's still alive. But he is back in Faerun and has vengeance on his mind.
Vengeance on his mind. And Robert, you should be aware that the very first potion of the game has been purchased for you. You now have a potion of illusion of minor badass.
Oh,
At any time, you can quaff it, and for the next moment, anything you say is more heroic as the light strikes you just so, and the wind blows through your hair, and yes. Like maybe there's an eagle that screams at just the right moment to accentuate your point, but feel free to quaff one of those whenever you like. That's right, illusion of minor badass potion. It's
thank you so much.
it's fantastic. I mean, and I upon brewing these potions, right, said to myself, that is going to be very useful one day, and I still, in my heart of hearts, truly believe that is going to make a scene just so much better. There's going to be a moment when that cork comes off and it's just perfect. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. Thank you for that, Drew Noble. But moving onward from that, Matt Quiet, why don't you tell us a little about yourself and the character you will be portraying this evening?
Hi, I'm Matt Quiet. I've been playing D&D for more than 20 years, not nearly as long as Robert, but um,
Longer
I've
not been alive.
I've also been running some other stuff on other streams, Star Trek and Call of Cthulhu, where I make Roxanne go insane. So that's fun. And I'm playing Alistria Golden Tree. She is a wood elf sword dancer, also known as a barbarian, if you want to go by those silly
Technical.
rules. Yeah. She is kind of an outlander, has been wandering outside of her forest looking for a group of adventurers she feels drawn to kind of move forward in her understanding of the world.
Excellent, excellent. Wood elf wandering the wilds of the Sword Coast, seeking adventure and perhaps the fulfillment of a prophecy destiny. But that's neither here nor there, is it? No. What is here, last but not least, is the wonderful Yen Porter. Yen, please tell us a bit about yourself and the character you will be portraying this evening.
Hello, my name is Yen Porter. I am a stay-at-home mom. This is my first D&D campaign, so I'm very new to role playing. I've played in a Savage Worlds campaign that my husband runs, and that's That's about the extent of my role-playing experience. I play Sariel, an Asmar warlock with a mysterious past.
Mysterious indeed. Oh boy, we're going to get into it, aren't we? And you brought up a fantastic point here. You will notice, dear viewer, that our cast members run the gamut of experience from literally about as long as you could possibly have played D&D as a human being in this reality, right? To somebody who is literally dipping their toes in for the first time in a live theater production of it, right? So I want that to indicate to you that this show is for everybody, right? This show is for the people that indeed, if I say Thaco, right, they either grimace or smile given their nature, right? And also that people, when I say Thaco, they go, what? Right? For both sets, right? It's for everybody. We hope that you will enjoy it out of a love of nerdery and D&D as much as you will a love of storytelling and theatrics. And with that established, right? I think I mean that we should probably get started. What do you think, guys? You ready to get started?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ready to go?
Yeah, it's only been
Let's do
months
it.
of preparation. It's only been sessions of pregame where we've gotten together. It's only been costume tests and lighting and background setup. I mean, it's only literally been months of preparation. So I'm sure none of you are eager to get started. You know, let's just call the whole thing off. I'm fine with that. No, of course I am not. Oh boy. Thank you, Lawful Stupid. Yes, it's difficult in the UK. We love you and your channel. Everybody watching, please and genuinely check out Lawful Stupid RPG if you don't already. They put on a damn fine show. And I mean that sincerely and genuinely. I've been watching them now for quite some time, with great interest. And it's a hell of a production. They got musical numbers and shit, guys. Like, man, full on like cast singing in unison musical number. It's amazing. But we're gonna get started here. So it is 10th day, 30th of Flame Rule in the year 1491 DR, or Dale Reckoning. To break that down further, for those of you who are not familiar with the calendar of the Sword Coast, right? That puts you in late summer, right? The sun high in the sky in this late summer day. Golden sunlight glinting warmly off the shimmering fields of likewise golden wheat that have dotted the farmsteads alongside the high road. You've been following it now south for several days, carrying a wagon, and by you, I mean Telesian, Elestria, and Rife. Hired by an entrepreneur and Daka of your clan, specifically your relations with your mother for her notoriety as a brawler, one Gundarin Rockseeker, who has tasked you with taking this wagon load of provisions, mining pickaxes, rope, flour, various sundries, to the distant outposts of Phandalin, outskirt city, built upon the ruins of a once far more prosperous settlement that was waylaid by an orc invasion some 100 years prior. The evenly hewn paving stones and the rhythmic beat of ox hooves lend a sense of serenity to the warm afternoon. There's a smell of salt on the air as the high road follows the coastline down alongside the Sea of Swords. Sometimes getting so close that you can peer down over majestic 100-foot cliffs into the crashing waters below. But at the point in which it pulls away and intersects with the Tribor Trail, you find yourself several leagues from the coastline. The friendly greetings of the passing tradesmen, adventurers, and common folks alike have lended to the sense of tranquility. Indeed, the high road is about as secure a means to travel in the entirety of the Sword Coast, as it is the main thoroughfare for trade between the main three city-states that vie for control of Faerun and this section of it at least. Looking out on the idyllic scene as the countryside meanders past, it's hard to believe that it's been just 40 years since the whole region was choked with ash by the devastating eruption of Mount Hodenau. The city-state of Neverwinter and the lands that surround it now bear little evidence of the fiery destruction and spell plague that followed. Indeed, as you turn east off of the well-paved high road and onto the far more overgrown Tribor Trail towards Phandalin, it appears as though the Sword Coast is in for the most bountiful harvest that it has seen in memory. Now, which of you three is driving the wagon? Which of you three is wandering alongside? What are your positions generally?
I
Probably walking
usually watch out the
alongside.
back.
Walking alongside, we have declared, ambling alongside the wooden cart loaded for bear. Telesian?
Yeah, I usually like to watch out the back,
Right,
and
right.
sometimes I'll alternate between the side of the wagon, walking alongside it, and then riding in the back and keeping an eye out for anybody who might be looking
Right. I
to
mean,
do harm.
it is a meandering pace, covering just about 15 miles a day, but still with those stumpy little dwarf legs. You know, it behooves
to
one
ride.
to rest on occasion,
Yeah.
yes. Excellent. And Elistria,
That
I guess that would leave you
me
driving it.
guiding the wagon.
Excellent, excellent. And indeed, it's been so casual that you guys find yourselves breaking into conversation as pertains to other such wonderful travels. Who has a story regarding another such just have you ever done a stretch of traveling that was just benevolent and perfect, like the car, all the gas stations were nice and clean bathrooms, right? The weather was just perfect, the tunes on the radio were great.
One time, I was out ranging with my cousin Ogren and his sister Bloodwin. I guess she's my cousin too, but whatever. And we came across this beaver, and the damn thing could speak, and it wore a little red cap, which was first a big red flag. I mean, it was wearing a red cap, and they said their name was Buckies, and they took us around and showed us all these things. They made this delicacy called beaver nuggets. I couldn't kill it after that. Its
Truly a
family was free
delicacy.
game.
The best delicacy.
The beaver nuggets, yes, aren't what you think, dear viewer. Allow me to assure you, first off, when
No,
she describes
they're not.
beaver nuggets, they're not what
It's
your
like
mind immediately leaps
caramelized puffed corn. If
A
you've never seen
delicacy
such
in
a thing.
the southern regions of Faerun.
That's right.
Yes, mm-hmm. Excellent, excellent.
To listen, have you been spending time with more fairy dragons?
That fairy dragon was great. If she'd have come home with me, I'd have brought her. But nope. Just me.
I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, honestly, fairy dragon is a hell of a pet for a variety of reasons we discovered. Yes.
Right.
Yes, excellent. Anybody else got a story of benevolent travel as the trees start to close in overhead? Claustrophobic would be the wrong term, but instead of the bright afternoon sunlight now, one would refer to it as a dappling, as it's broken by the shade of the canopy overhead.
I remember.
Something.
Go ahead.
Something reminds me. Maybe it's the still air. So long ago, I can barely remember it, but there was that battle, that glorious battle where, as our enemies were slain before us, our mighty casters would call up their corpses to use them as zombies. Oh, the look in the peasants' faces as their brothers and their sisters, their fathers and their wives were then with mortal wounds attacking and clawing at them with their hands. Oh, those were the good old days.
I think we have two very different ideas of a nice
Right, just
meandering travel.
pleasant journey for
Yeah.
sure. And then we put their women and their children to the torch. Like, yeah, no, that is casual. Thank you, Riot. Thank you, Rife.
I
I don't know if I want to
don't know if
reward
I'm
that
gonna
with
get
an
used to him.
inspiration, right? Now it should be said, you guys were hired on by Gundren Rockseeker some months ago as he put you through a series of qualifying runs, and you are now well acquainted with Rife's penchant for edgelordy non sequitur, right? Like, you'll all be like, what's for dinner? And he'll be like, cakes made from the blood of our enemies, right? It happens a lot. And it is, like, it hasn't gotten any less off-putting. Right, but at this point you're like, yes, Rife, the women and children too, Rife. You know, it's yes. But Alestria, I believe you had some a
Well,
bit yourself.
my family, while growing up, we often traveled through forests thicker than this, but it's very familiar. We would listen for the animals, depending on how close we were to any um, streams. We would often head that direction, but it's like home again, in its own small way.
Excellent. Now I hate to have had your thunder stolen there, but I mean, what you did was you described a wonderful, pleasant bit of travel, right? But it was just after, you know, like, and then we dined on their skulls, you know, like,
How do you follow that up? I mean,
Right.
really.
I have
Thunder
not dined on
stolen.
any skulls, not a single one.
all
I've
right.
drank out of a few skulls, but I haven't ate the skull itself.
Excellent.
Kobold skulls make for a great drinking horn.
They do if you like a smaller beverage, you know. But again, dwarf scale. It's all good, you know.
We
Not
give it to our toddlers, as they learn how to hold their own.
right. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a weaker brew. You give them only like 15-16%. But
Yeah, Walter basically, fuzzy Walter.
yeah. It curls the nose hairs, but that's all for sure. Why doesn't everybody, excuse me, with the exception, of course, of Sariel, now give me the very first roll of the game, and I am just going to need a wisdom perception with advantage. That's right, because I'm kind. Advantage for the first roll. Don't get used to it. Never again.
Well,
Excellent.
What a good lot of advantage, didn't
Excellent.
we?
A 12, a 21, and a 24. The DC for this roll was 10, because it is not hard to notice that the clouds, puffy and white, right, cease to travel slowly across the sky in their lazy circuit, and indeed begin to swirl like a vortex around each other. As you glance up and point it out, they shimmer with a rainbow iridescent, although the light is being broke into individual prismatic shards, and then there's a sudden tear, like a ragged wound in the sky, revealing deep red behind it. It's so far off that it takes several moments for the sound to reach your ears, but when it does, it shakes the trees with the crack of the opening, and you swear for just a second that you hear a howl of pure bestial rage. From within this wound in the heavens comes a comet streaking through the sky, flaming and casting off embers so bright as to appear a second sun. It comes hurtling worryingly close towards your trajectory, and seems to make landfall what couldn't be but a mile up the trail proper. Again, after a moment, there is a thunderous crash and a wave of unbelievable heat. As everything settles back down, the birds return to chirping, and if it wasn't for the smell of ozone thick in the air, it would be as though nothing had happened at all. The wound closes in the heavens. The clouds return to their circuit.
You said it's
What
about
the-
a mile up the trail?
Looks about a mile in front of you guys, in fact, yeah.
I've already pulled my bow, and pulled myself up on the front seat next to Alestria.
Rife,
Faster.
Rife, hop on. We're going to move quickly.
Very well. I'll leap onto the back of the wagon.
I
Yes.
spur the horses forward quickly.
Now, all of you are fairly experienced with the weirder things that transpire than the Sword Coast. You're no stranger to magic and the Fey folk and wizards and sorcery of all kinds. But indeed, this is the first time that you have beheld a comet tearing through through the sky, literally, physically through the sky. And then to crash land so close to you. Why, it almost seems like Providence. Like it was all some kind of design. But as you guys, you're riding up, I'm assuming, here to the spot
Yes.
now with great interest. Wonderful, wonderful. The air crackles with an unseen energy. It is a light with the acrid tinge of ozone that has grown to be almost unbearable. A very unnatural smell in the Sword Coast that you associate with arcane rituals that discombobulate the mind and shatter the senses, things far beyond the comprehension or indeed interest of any of you. It appears as though a rough trough has been plowed into the moist, dark earth here, snapping the trees in its path like matchsticks with the intensity of its passing. Alright? It does not appear as though you will be able to take the wagon along this trail. The ground is rough, torn up, leading into a thicket. You would have to park it here and progress on foot.
I hop down quickly from the seat, and I have an arrow in hand, knocked on the string, but I have not drawn it back yet as I begin to kind of flank outwards around this and proceed with great caution.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
I lead the horse close to a tree that we can tie it off on so it doesn't wander off with the cart. That would be embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I draw both my swords as quietly as possible and begin moving that direction quietly as well.
Excellent. Creeping through the undergrowth. Rife?
I will also follow after Thaleasin, and interestingly enough, I pull out this large book wrapped in chains, and there's about 3 feet of chain that is attached to it, and the chain looks like it might be rusty, or perhaps there's spatters of blood on it. But I hold it sort of like oddly, like I'm not really used to this thing.
Kind of in a loose grip at the ready as you walk forward. Yeah.
A loose grip and kind of looking at it like, I'm not sure what this book's gonna do, but
Right. I mean, you've had a couple of fights with it since you acquired it there. You know, I mean, what it does is it swings into things' heads really well. Especially if their gnome's named Todrick, but...
yeah. Poor Todrick.
Poor Todrick.
As you guys advance off the Tribord Trail, alright, the trees cling overhead now where they haven't been shattered by the trail in the dirt, almost oppressively blocking sight lines. Whereas before there was a comfort to the thickness of the woods, a natural kind of vibe. Now the fact that you can't see but a few meters in any direction seems like less of a boon and more of a tactical error. The smell of the freshly exposed timber and wet loam begins to become overwritten by a strangely astringent and sulfurous undertone. As you approach a scorched clearing, it's clear that everything is blasted out from a central point, like there was a discharge of incredible energy. Within the epicenter of it is, that's when you first catch sight of it. The air seems to thrum slightly around a sleek black spear standing upright, abruptly out of the earth, perfectly erect. For a moment, it seems like the space around it distorts, like the rapid inhalation of a breath. Before then, all at once, it becomes cold and still once more. The spear itself is preternaturally black, as though the surface of its wickedly bladed haft drains the warmth from the light as it caresses it. It is clearly a lethal weapon, cruelly conceived at that. Despite your vast wealth of experiences, none of you have ever seen a spear of this cultural make before. The style is fierce and primal, as though it was forged for a singular purpose, to kill you and hurt the entire time it does so. The bottom of the shaft twists over on itself, a black spiral tapering to a point that's jammed into the soil below it, piercing the earth. Something about the thing makes you uncomfortable to gaze at it for too long, and you find yourselves compelled to look away. Perhaps that's why it's only now that you realize there is a delicate hand wrapped around the handle. Hand has a pearlescent skin that shimmers ever so slightly in the sunlight and leads to a arm garbed in a blue military garb, the likes of which you do not recognize. The figure makes eye contact with you for just a second and then appears to stare through you as she stands, stumbles forward, and says,
It's coming. We must warn.
and with that collapses into the earth. Azamar, clearly celestial by read, right? That spear doesn't look Azamar, for sure. You haven't seen many Azamar at the sight of any comets hurtling through the heavens, and certainly you're unaware of any Azamar that would survive such a, flight and landing without some serious hoodoo. At any rate, she's now unconscious on the forest in front of you.
I have drawn the bow now, and I am, with her words of its coming, I look up at the sky some more, and aim my arrows that way, and I keep my eyes and check on her.
I'll approach the figure on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And attempt to see if there's anything I can do to help heal her.
Yeah, why don't you give me a medicine check?
I don't remember Gundren paying us to do this kind of work.
Gundren doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground. We're not gonna leave her out here.
You can't make sense of her, whether it's due to the alien physiology of the Azamar or just the inability to see the source of what currently ails her. With a roll of a 6, you can tell that she has a ragged but stable breathing and appears unconscious but not visibly wounded, although on a 6 there could be internal injury, any number of things.
Can I give her the healing potion that we have, or that I have?
You could definitely pour the healing potion in her mouth, but I'll tell you out of character right now, narratively, it probably wouldn't work for like 45 minutes or so in game time,
That's fine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you can administer the potion. It's some powerful hoodoo, right? Probably have to put her in the cart, and have her awaken at some point down the trail. Toot toot. That was a terrible train. What? Choo choo. There we go. That's the...
I
That's
mean,
what I
either
toot,
her.
toot, like, what was that? What was that? Toot toot, gang.
I'll look at Teleasin and I'll sigh and I'll walk over and I'll just reach down. I'll like put my chain book back in my belt and I'll reach down and just pick her up and throw her over my shoulder. Not gently, but not like overly rough, and just like just like kind of walk back towards the cart.
Lighter than you would think she was. Strangely, 100% unconscious. Boy, she's got a death grip on that spear. That's coming along for the ride.
Yeah, don't leave that behind. It looks like maybe that is what caused this. I don't know, this crater in the earth. I mean, she clearly made the rut, but that
Well,
crater is different.
this spear looks like an upgrade to my book, is what I'm thinking. I just need to get her hand off it first.
Rife. It'll be
Right.
fine. I'm channeling another character. We've talked about this. No,
Right.
leave it. No. Let's let her wake up and speak to it first. She's quite slight for a spear like this, but we'll take a look at it. Do I see anything? Scanning the trees that are still standing in the forest around. Obviously, I can't see the sky as much anymore, and it is dimmer and darker in here. But do I see anything else? Do I hear anything that maybe something came out of the sky with
Give
her?
me a perception check at disadvantage.
Okay. Oh, nope. Oh,
No,
I can't see anything. I can't hear anything. I can't even smell. It's just
No,
really dark in here.
you did in fact roll a 1, which was a critical failure. Fortunately, you did not roll a 5 or a 6, so something crazy stupid didn't happen. So yeah, you just didn't see anything. I always struggle with this, critical failures on perception. It was just like a bird come by and I'm just gonna pluck out your eyes, or, you know.
Yeah, I just...
It like
Crap
poos
in
on
the
you
eye.
and you're like, oh no, I can't perceive anything for 5 rounds. Like, what do you do with it?
I let go of the front. I let go of the bow, not the string, and the whole thing just like smacked
Oh,
me in the
there
face.
you go. Snaps you in the face. That's a good one. Yeah, looked into the sun, says the audience. That's a good one.
Look at
I
that.
don't know.
Is that another thing coming out of the sky?
Is that another thing? That's the sun, Taliesin. Oh, yeah. No,
Oh,
that's
remember, I'm a dwarf. I grew
fantastic.
up underground. I'm still new.
There you go. Facts. Canon. Boom. Solved it. All right. We're gonna, I take it, make our way back over the torn up earth. Does anybody else want to try a wisdom perception check at disadvantage?
Yeah, I will keep an eye out on our flank as we leave.
Weather eye, swords at the ready.
You said it
Yeah, I'll do
disadvantage.
Disadvantage, yes, sir. And you can just hit the DIS there in the lower left, remember.
I'll do the same too. While we're walking back.
Excellent, excellent. Oh, you see it made you throw away that 20? Oh, that hurts.
I'm not keen on that. That makes me
That hurts. But you dropped it for an 18, right? So, Alestria, you don't notice anything directly, right? But some birds alight a couple of hundred yards off in the woods. And for just half a second, you swear you see a shadowy figure move through the underbrush before everything's calm again. It's the birds what alerted you. And then, you know, your elf eyes, like just a little bit of shade move unnaturally before nothing. Fantasy grounds.
As we move back towards the cart, I will continue to scan and not turn my back on the crater until we're at the cart.
Excellent, excellent. You make it back to the cart unmolested. And indeed, as you move away from the clearing, things seem super casual again. It's forest noises, the wind rustles through the branches. If it wasn't for the fact that you now had the Azamar woman in tow, and the death grip on the black spear, in fact, there would be no evidence that anything was amiss at all. You are much less likely to encounter people now on the Tribor Trail than you were the High Road, as this is no longer a main travel and trade thoroughfare, but in fact more of a circuitous backwood wagon rut sort of situation.
Can we speed
Yeah,
up?
back at the wagon, I'll throw her in the back like a sack of grain, and I'll jump in with her, and I'm gonna try to kind of tap her face a little bit, just like, hey.
Hey.
Does she need the healing potion now?
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm not
poke a
smacking
hole in
her
her
hard. I'm just like,
Yeah, hey, I mean, she seems out of it. I mean, if you open her eyes, they loll back in her head, right? I mean, she's unconscious. If you do the sternum rub, right, she doesn't respond. She's unconscious, Yeah, the sternum rub. That's exactly the look you should make when I say sternum rub.
Rife.
Ah,
do that.
this'll wake
Nobody
her
likes
up.
that. Oh,
No.
God.
All right.
Um,
I'll stop and I'll just sit back against the edge of the wagon and just like put my arms on either side and just sort of look back up at the sky and just
Right, right.
stare off.
can we speed up our travel a little bit without it becoming dangerous? You said it's a wagon rut, and I just want to make sure it's not too.
Yeah, no, it's not like ha dangerous travel. It's just not, it's the road less traveled. It's a
Okay,
country
yeah.
back road.
I want to get
Not
to our
difficult terrain.
next stop a little faster since we have someone injured in the cart.
Yeah, trying double time to Fandlin. At best pace, right? You're expecting you should be able to be there in like an hour or so. It's not that far down the trail. Thank you there, Shrevel. Excellent. But we are proceeding down the trail now. Serio, you're unconscious to the world, right? But you have the rapid eye movement going on, right? There are visions of fire, and not the cooking variety, not the warmth of the heart, but the fire of war, of siege weapons, of pain and screams and agony, flash back and forth. It's alien to you, right? Your core of your being, right? Your id is used to a much more pleasant environment. You kind of recoil against not just the rapid flash of these scenes as they come on to you, but the horror that you feel at them in contrast with who you feel yourself to be. And just as they start to become unbearable, overriding in every regard, there's a pinpoint of light that seems to pierce the flames and cause them to disperse and spread aside, right? And out of that light strides a figure backlit by a luminous rainbow intensity that blocks out your ability to see them. There's something purifying about the nature of the light, and as you reach out your hand, you feel it received and are washed over with comfort. That blinding, purifying light changes from a rainbow iridescence to a harsh, alien glare as you become aware of the rocking of a cart back and forth down a trail, the jostling of the movements as a wheel enters the rut. The smell of the air is strange to you, alight with the perfume of plants that you don't recognize. The sounds of the wildlife as your senses start to fade in are equally alien. The chirps of birds surround you that you're unfamiliar with. And you struggle to open your eyes against the intensity of the sunlight, a sharp contrast to the cool blue light of where you are accustomed. Everyone else, it appears as though your guest is stirring.
Hey, you with us?
What is this? What is this smell? Ugh.
I apologize. It's been a couple days out on the road. I didn't think anybody. Yeah, nobody else had said anything. I mean, it could be the undead guy. But thanks a lot anyway. Are you okay?
Rude.
I start to put my hands around me and feel around as I open my eyes. The sunlight's just so bright in my face.
Really
Push
intense.
myself up.
Unnatural and intense for sure. Like
Does this help?
Yeah, that
No.
does help.
All right,
you.
I'll just do this while you wake up. Take your time.
Before you is a dwarf woman. Why don't you describe yourself visually for us here?
Sure. I am tall for a dwarf and short for everything else. I am stocky, square, very sturdy. I have hair the color of sandstone, uh, shaved on one side, longer on the other. I keep my beard into mutton chops. I do have a scar on my cheek and a face tattoo of some leaves. The scar looks like claws. And yeah, I try to keep a fairly open countenance. I try to look like I'm welcoming, but I am in ranging leathers and have my bow on my back with a quiver of arrows. And my eyes are green and they are peering at you very closely. And I haven't ever seen anything like you before, and I think it shows.
Indeed, the shortest and hairiest Azamar female you've ever seen, Yun.
You. What? What are you?
Oh, I'm a dwarf. My name is Talaesin. You fell out of the sky. Like the sky just ripped open like in a pair of old pants, and you just came flying right out of it. And you hit the dirt, and you just skidded right into the forest. And you had this beastly spear with you that you haven't let go of. You don't plan on using that against anybody here, do you?
Indeed, Serial, now you are aware of the heft of the spear in your hand, but it feels exceedingly natural in your grip, cool and reassuring. Well, I don't know if you've ever been scared, right? And you've picked up something heavy, and the weight of that heavy thing in your hand made you less scared because it made you feel more competent. Right, it gives you that kind of vibe, even though, I mean, you're confused certainly at this point, but you don't feel threatened. The spear being in your hand makes you feel unthreatenable.
The spear is mine.
Well, it certainly seems as that way. Don't worry. Don't worry. I wasn't going to take it. My friend might have mentioned it, but we talked him out of it. And surely, if he really wants it, he can offer you some money for it or something. But won't.
Go ahead, finish. Yes, I.
Oh, but we don't worry. It's yours. It's yours. This is our wagon. This is my friend, Alestria. She is guiding the horses, and then our friend Rife here. We're just making a delivery and picked you up. I didn't want to feel right leaving you out there in the woods, laying in your own rut.
As
It
she,
was out of our way.
The universe has deigned to drop a wild magic highball on the scene real quick here, and it seems to be surrounding Serial as she has come to.
Oh no! Oh no! It fits though.
So, as she's coming to Talia Senior shielding her, a bolt of light shoots from Serial's chest. Another creature of her choice, I guess. It would make sense to be Talaesin, but your choice. Maybe Rife. Within 30 feet of you, must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or take 1d6 radiant damage and be blinded. A sudden burst of mega power erupts from you. Who's gonna take it, Serial?
It's gonna be Rife because Talaesin mentioned that he was eyeing my spear, and it's my spear, not yours.
Excellent.
Okay?
Oh, so subconsciously, he was like, it's an improvement over my sword. And you heard that, and blah. All right, 1d6 radiant damage. And if I am not mistaken, you do not have any sort of, Oh, excellent. Well, there's the Constitution saving throw. You're fine. Now, what would the DC on that be, I wonder? I mean, I would put it at 10, like a typical, but 26 on the Constitution save. Yeah, the nat 20 does a lot. You leap out of the way, and right where your face was, there's a perfectly charred hole in the tree. She kind of spasms and then comes to again,
I knew this one was gonna be trouble.
You're fine. You're fine.
Let's just look. I've got this nice serviceable sword. I pull out my black longsword. Look, you'd much rather have this than that ugly spear.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Good convincing. Wow.
I don't know what happened. I'm sorry. Thank you for helping me.
That's a I've done quite a few things with my body accidentally in the past, but nothing anything like that.
That was a hell of a Care Bear stare for sure.
So, do you have a name? Do you remember or anything?
Indeed, a name does seem to rise to the surface of your mind unbidden, Sariel.
My name, it's Sariel.
Sariel. Good to meet you. So you said the sun's quite bright here, and it is, but I take it you don't come from around here.
I don't think so. I don't think I've seen the sun before.
Oh, well, I mean, that's strange. But you did come through the sky. I'm not going to make an assumption that you grew up underground, but
I come
are you?
from the gates of the moon. Where are we right now?
Not there.
We're on this sword coast. Sounds like you're making up things. Maybe even spending time with some fairy dragons.
Alestria and Rife, why don't you both give me wisdom perception checks?
I'd also like to. Does the Gate of the Moon, does that tie into my goddess at all?
Could potentially, yes. Yes, indeed, there could be some overlap there, but everything you've witnessed so far is indeed just as alien to you as it is to everyone else in the party. So it's not as though there's been some great revelation personally to you by that. You go, huh, moon, I should definitely jot that down, right? Because potentially, yes. But if so, esoterically as well, right? But with the perception checks of a 12 and a 10, I was looking for a 10 on both of those. Alestria, you smell the rich copper heft of blood on the air. Thank you for purchasing the halfling tier tea for Sariel. Sariel, at any point you want, you can consume a halfling tier tea and get advantage on the next roll you make. So use it wisely.
Thank you.
You smell the rich coppery tinge of blood on the air. Rife, the hair stands up on the back of your neck as, I believe it's, I sense death.
Taliesin,
Oh, excuse me, if you will, Miss Sariel.
knock an arrow.
Oh,
There's death on the air.
I do. I
Going on?
take your
Sariel,
time waking
Cat-
up. We'll make sure that you're safe.
Catchphrase.
Your spear, it's brought trouble upon us. You should have given it to me.
Fair assumption.
My
I mean,
spear.
straight up, yeah.
Yeah, I knock an arrow, and I scan the horizon.
I'm gonna keep driving the horses, but kind of let them autopilot if
Right.
they don't need guided, and prepare myself.
Right, indeed. I mean, at this point, there's pretty much the one trail and then underbrush off to either side. So, I mean, they've got the one direction to go. And they are fairly...
Is the wagon still moving? We're still
Yes. Slowly, as it rounds a bend, you spot two dead horses sprawled about 50 feet ahead of you, blocking the path. Each has several crudely flocked, yes. Black feathered arrows sticking out of it. The woods
Do I
crush
recognize-
close to the trail here, with a steep embankment and dense thickets off to either side. Yes, I think it is safe to say, as a dwarf, I don't even need a roll. That's Goblin make.
Be on the lookout. They are my favorite enemy, by the way.
Yes, indeed they are. Which is going to be super convenient, allow me to assure you. So we will do absolutely nothing here of the sort because there's nothing happening at all. So our very first combat is going to be upon us, and it will be 100% theater of the mind for this first encounter. There is no dungeon, there is no complexity. What there is 4 goblins, now apparent in the underbrush. Alright, mostly apparent because 2 of them have drawn rusty and crudely manufactured swords and are now charging through the thicket. While 2 of them hang in the background, knocking arrows in their cheap-ass short bows. They appear intent upon re-ambushing you, having been successful on their previous one from all appearances. And combat is now underway. We begin with Alistria Golden Tree up first.
I am going to enter my rage as my bonus action.
Excellent. Raging.
And then I will hop down. How far away are the 2 goblins with the swords?
They're about 10 feet away. Easy to close combat distance with. There's force closing in on either side. One to the left, one to the right.
So I'll go to my right, and as I kind of leap down off of the wagon, I will spin as I do so and slash my sword across the goblin.
Right. Like in one of those martial arts wushu maneuvers where the twirl in the air is also the attack.
Exactly.
Excellent. Striking out blade, glinting in the sun, you roll a 1 for an automatic miss and a 1 on the d6, not proccing an effect. But the goblin parries your blow, cling, and gives you a crude Mwah!
It was a little high.
Right. And in fact, I should put them in the combat tracker. 1 second here, I skipped him accidentally. Is next. And is going to try and respond with his cruel scimitar, lashing out at Alestria, who is currently raging, giving her resistance to the effects of the blow. As such, it lashes out and misses. The spinning action of the second sword coming through and following through with a parry of its own. The clash of metal on metal ringing out in the forest afternoon. Next up is Teleus and Cold Iron.
I moved from the seat, I believe I'd stood up in the back of the wagon, so I'm going to continue to stand there, and I'm going to kind of duck down behind the seat, maybe around the edges, kind of kneel down, and I'm going to take aim at probably one of the ones that is, I'm going to take aim at one of the ones that is knocking an arrow.
Excellent.
See if I can't get a hold of them.
Goblin number 3 or 4 in the combat tracker.
Okay, sounds good.
The arrow whistles through the air and the goblin ducks out of the way.
Bastard!
Unfortunately for him, both of his hands are on the bow, so he cannot respond with a cruel gesture of his own. But what he does respond with is a volley from the short bow, letting loose the black arrow as it whistles through the air in response right towards you. Did I say right towards you? I meant missing you broadly, whistling through the air, and procking a -2 to Goblin number 3's attacks. Till the end of his next turn, which, he's a guy, it's probably for the rest of his life is how that should read. But, yes, he is it's like boing, he snapped his string, right? And it won't have the same heft on his bow now. So -2 next time Goblin number 3 wants to come to play. Goblin number 2 is going to rush to the aid of Goblin number 1 and attempt to stab at the twirling Alestria. Scimitar lashing out. We don't understand barbarian combat mechanics! Blah! Attacking you while raging and missing. Again, the pirouette knocking another goblin blade away. Sariel, now fully conscious and aware of what's going on, these little tiny green fellows seem to be attacking these people that helped you.
I stand up, I push myself up from the cart, and I stand up and I turn around. And Goblin number 3, the one that Taliesin was trying to shoot with her arrow, and I close my eyes, and I think of that light that shot out of me. And I subconsciously raise my hands, my fingers. Light starts to light up at the tip of my fingers, prismatic light. And I cast Sacred Flame on Goblin number 3.
Excellent. Excellent. Save versus 6. Let me drop that on Gobbo 3. Did that? There we go. Excellent. It's fine. Excellent. He has failed his save. I believe this is the first time your Sacred Flame's gone off. You've tried it a bunch now, and so now I need to. All right, now that it's actually hit, Sacred Flame. Oh yeah, excuse me, Todrick. Yes, Todrick. We barely knew ye. Big ups. Sacred Flame.
Yeah. Do more of that. That's
Oh
the way
yeah,
I like it.
1d8 radiant. Oh, boo. 1 points of damage. And you know what I forgot to do? Switch over to our combat screen that like displays the rolls when we're doing It's the first show, guys. We'll get used to it. Oh, but there aren't character cameras on this one. Oh my god, I suck so much. So what we'll do is we'll pretend there isn't a combat screen, and we'll come back next week with that fixed, because there are the 2 screens and I only set up the one element. And then if they're not here when I'm looking at it, it's all black, right? And then so I just assumed I had done it in both. Well, I clearly hadn't. So I will describe the yes, 1 point of damage, lightly wounding the goblin as he is charred by the blast of radiant light. Unfortunately, that is going to cause goblin number 4 to look at you, because, I mean, you hit his buddy Charlie the goblin, right? And he is going to try and loose an arrow in your general direction, Sariel. You've been in the world for about 3 minutes, blasted a little green dude, now they're shooting at you. How's that for a how do you do? And missing, probably on a roll of 10 just due to his lack of competency more than any kind of martial prowess on your end, leaving Rife last but certainly not least. 2
All right,
goblins menacing Alestria.
Pushing my hood back, I leap off the cart and I pull out my book on the chain, and it's whirling around, and you can just make out embossed on the side, there's like 3 words, and the first word says Marshall, and I'm going to swing it at the nearest goblin at his head. Say,
Teach him to read, Rife.
Lashing through the air, and with a 21 to hit, you certainly will. Kerplonk. Oh, yes, and the side of his head stoves in, causing one of his eyeballs to erupt from the socket as he falls to the ground in a heap, gurgling. His head fatally stove in by the might of your blow. 1 goblin down as we enter the next round of combat. Excellent. Alestria Golden Tree, you are up first. Perhaps done with your pirouette now.
Now that the goblin I had attacked is, scattered on the ground, I will leap over the body and swing both of my swords in a circular pattern as I approach the second goblin, and I attack it with both my swords.
Who I imagine is probably like, what the fuck? Dude just hopped down with a book and just beat his buddy's head in, Nigh distracted. I almost gave you advantage on it just for him having I didn't think we had died of books today, First attack misses. Second attack also misses.
They're so small, those goblins.
I
It
would
was only
wager
for distraction, really. That's it.
I would wager it was because each roll was poorly described as an individual element. That's why I think they both missed. It's the karmic. Our deaf friends were like, oh, I didn't hear it, so it didn't happen. Boom, that's the universe. Goblin number 4, though, is, I think he's gonna go for the archer. The hand of light thing, that was a 1 point of damage, right? Knocks a crude arrow in his short bow and fires off at Tuleasin.
Oh,
Oh my goodness, and with a 20 to hit, the arrow finds purchase,
Oh,
sinking into the meat of, let's see how much damage you take here. Your upper arm, embedding itself in your shoulder with a thong. And
all right.
he's
all
celebrating way too much for 4 points of damage. Sariel, you're up next. The dwarf that was assisting you just took an arrow in the shoulder. It's clear that these things mean business.
Taliesin, are you all right? I rush over to Taliesin, and I touch her wound. And my hand goes as I touch her wound. And I cast Cure Wounds.
Oh shit, right out the gate. Yeah, excellent. Cure wounds being applied by the touch of your angelic buddy. And indeed, she touches you. The arrow, right, dissolves into dust. The tip of it worms its way out of your shoulder, and the wound stitches itself shut, leaving not even a scar.
Oh, holy shit! Thank you. Oh,
I don't know how I'm doing this.
Goblin number 3, who I previously described as one of the archer goblins, is going to attempt to arrow Rife. He did explode Charlie the Goblin's head with a book. Not cool, bro. There are rules to this. You die, we eat your livers. That's kind of how it goes. This is completely unprecedented. Not really feeling it as the arrow comes whistling through the air and bounces. Tink! I mean, it's a goblin arrow. You're armored, right?
I
Like.
was gonna say he's at a -2, but it doesn't matter. It looks like.
Oh yeah, thank you. Andy's at a -2 because he was so shocked by the. So he's super like. Maybe the arrow just breaks in half as it hits you. What's your response to Goblin? I mean, he's clearly like, oh hell.
Yeah, I turn to him and I give him like the death stare, and I do have like my book on a chain swirling around. I've got my shield up on the other hand, like, you know, and I'm looking
Yeah,
to, like,
not
you
a
know,
good look.
and print some more words on his head.
I can't even emphasize enough how useless Goblin shortbows are as weapons too. They are so bad. Like they brought a stick to a gunfight. It's just not. It's a bad look. But Goblin number 2 is going to try and stab you with the scimitar, assuming that you're distracted staring down the arrow goblin there. Ah! And despite making a pretty epic goblin noise when he attacked you, the tip of the scimitar literally bends over as it hits the chainmail. I mean, they were made by goblins. What's it gonna do? You know? But it does kind of push you a little uncomfortably, leading to your turn, of course.
All right. I'm gonna look over at Sariel since she's new. I don't really know her abilities, but she seems to have some magic. And I said, "Are you gonna be able to animate their dead bodies?" And with that, I'm gonna bring my book down at a big arc on the chain right at the goblin. I'm actually gonna like even pull the chain short and just use the book and just try to brain him right in the head.
Right.
as I smash the book
Boom.
on
Excellent. Well, now a 20 will definitely brain the goblin on the head with the book. Yeah. Using the momentum of the chain to wrap it close in your hand, you bring the full impact of it down on
Nice.
its head. And you hear the key grip grab 4 stalks of celery and give it a twist in front of the mic as his neck snaps and gives way. He voids his bowels and dies in the dirt.
And that was the second word of the book. The first was martial, the second word was attack. So the goblin's got a big A like imprinted in the side of his crushed skull.
Excellent. Yeah, maybe Rife does have anger issues. It remains to be seen.
A little bit. A little bit.
Teleus and just the archer goblin now, who is clearly like backpedaling. You know, he's trying to leave.
You killed my grandfather. Prepare to eat flint. And I knock another arrow in Blodwin's reach, and I
If you
I
could
let
speak
fly.
goblin, you would hear him say, "I'm only 3!" So it's unlikely.
Bear
but,
the sins of your father, you son of a bitch.
right.
Let's see here. All right. There we are.
Excellent. A 19 will definitely strike true. Arrow
Oh,
punching into the goblin, hitting him in the neck. He spins to the earth, discarding the short bow, stands up and makes it a few steps before collapsing, gurgling, and dying, leaving you with just goblin number 4. Yes. And, oh man, invigorated by your last blow. I mean, you swivel and have the arrow knocked already. I mean, you know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in one swift motion, I've pulled a third arrow, and I am knocking it and letting it fly at his compatriot. Let's see here.
Oh,
No.
and not quite.
I didn't take my aim action.
All right, if only we were playing Savage Worlds. Could have just, used a Benny. Shit. And remember, people are sitting on inspiration, which is a game
That is
mechanic.
true.
Rife. One
All right,
goblin remain. You'd have to run this one down. He's like 20 feet away, but I mean, you know.
Yeah, I leap over the dead body of Goblin 2, and I say, "There's
it really a
third
leap?
word on this book." And
It's
I'm
the
gonna
third
take it,
word on this book.
let the chain out as I roll it around and spin it on the side of his head. Oh, that's gonna connect.
Oh, a 25 is definitely going to connect, friend. Yeah.
Oh,
No,
Yeah,
and I
so,
mean, you
yeah.
guys. So you're sitting there. Rife has killed one of them with the chain, right? Wrapped it into his hand, beat the head in on a second, and has sprinted 20 feet away. The third one has discarded his bow, is trying to run away when Rife catches him by the back of the neck. And mercifully, all you guys hear is the kind of wet splorching sound. You're not subjected to the full-on visual, given that his back is towards you. But to suffice to say, at the end of it, he is winded, and the goblin is indeed quite deceased.
And the third word is techniques, martial attack techniques. And so this goblin, right in his chest where his sternum got crushed, is like kind of a T like shape there, you know.
There's a third word on this book is a hell of a battle cry. I'll give you that. That's
I
But
didn't even know he knew how to read, I say to Sariel.
now there is clear and canonical evidence of that much for sure.
Yeah, and he wants everyone to
Sariel.
learn how to read.
Sariel would like to hop off the wagon and walk over to the closest goblin. Which goblin would that be?
Oh, any number of goblin at this point. There's
The one with
two
the A
right
on
alongside the one with the A embedded in what's left of its
She'll
face.
walk up to the one with the A on it, and she'd like to. She closes her eyes and she concentrates really hard as she puts her hand out and over its dead body.
Is she
And
healing that one
she-
too?
No, she's gonna raise it from the dead, right? A zombie.
She would like to cast prestidigitation.
Yeah, are you attempting to clean it?
I am attempting to revive the goblin.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I'd like to see if it works.
100% no. Excellent. I love the roleplay of being unfamiliar with what does this do. I like that quite a bit as a character who's just woken up and doesn't understand her place in things. I like that. I'm giving you an inspiration for that, frankly. So just take that. That's wonderful. No, certainly doesn't. But as you get close, I mean, you can see like the black decay of its fangs, right? That have been, it looks like filed into crude points, right? Sharp and barbed and uneven. Like a mouthful of arrowheads, almost. The smell is almost unbearable. Not just the goblin smell, but combined with the blood, right, and the bowel voiding and the innards and all of that. As you approach it, the flies buzzing on the cadaver are quite off-putting. And the whole process of trying to prestidigitate it back into being is an unpleasant one, to say the least. Everybody else... the angel chick has walked over and is hand waving the gobbo corpse. Now you guys can give me a wisdom arcana if you would like. Rife and Teleasin, it looks like she's trying to clean the goblin with magic. I mean, prestidigitation, that's pretty common, you know. You've seen people do the somatic component before.
Do you have a problem with goblin blood and viscera?
I guess I can't raise the dead.
Oh,
Looks confused.
that's not
Rice.
at all what you were doing. At least not that I.
Oh, sweetheart.
That's not what I thought, anyway. I was afraid you were going to heal it or something.
It's a good thing you're pretty. Like, that's...
I'm
Bless your
gonna-
heart. That's...
I pick up the goblin next to me, like, you know, behind it. I'm waving its arms. Look! I'm alive again. Look! Arr!
Oh, he does this sick puppet show every time we kill something. It's
every
you'll get used to
fucking
it.
time.
Ariel just stares quizzically at Rife like, okay.
Excellent, guys. Well, there are goblin corpses, your wagon, and it looks like 2 horses in the road. But having completed our first combat encounter, we are going to take our first ever mid-show 10-minute break. That's right, folks. We are going to go void our old man bladders and look at our fur children and our real children and, you know, pretend to be invested in things that don't exist in a fantasy realm. If you enjoy what you've been seeing so far, man, hit that follow button. Boy, we like that. There's been a ton of that tonight, and we appreciate each and every one of you. If you really like what you see so far, boy, you could subscribe to the channel and support this whole endeavor. Did I mention that you could do it by stealing money from Jeff Bezos? Literally taking it out of Jeff Bezos' mouth. Right? Because if you have Amazon Prime, and let's not pretend like you don't have Amazon Prime. I mean, I need those Twinkies here in 12 hours. You know what I'm saying? I'm not waiting 48.
That's right.
Right? Same day Twinkies is what I'm looking for. And I know I'm not alone there. You can take
That
your
means
Amazon...
something entirely different to a lot of people.
That same day Twinkie is definitely something different to other people. To those same people, it turns out I'm a bear. It's flattering. It's flattering. No, thank you, but thank you. You know, you can use your Amazon Prime. You got me totally derailed here. To subscribe to the channel for free, right? Like Jeff Bezos will give us $2.50 of your Amazon Prime subscription money just by using it to subscribe. That doesn't go to him. It doesn't go to his dick rocket. It doesn't go to his next divorce. It goes to independent community theater with dice. So get on that if you're into it. Ooh, and a grading healing potion for Sariel from the audience. We'll make sure to allot that for her. And we will be back in our 10 minutes. Thank you for joining us all. We really appreciate it. Couldn't do it without you. We'll see you when we get back for the second half. And we are back. Thank you for sticking with us through our 10-minute break. I hope you have enjoyed the first half of our D&D live theater so far. I bought a wizard outfit just for it, you know what I'm saying? This is $200+ of pure wizard excellence. I just want to point out all the cosplay that's going on here. These people came together. Sariel is wearing a hand-constructed outfit. Her husband learned how to sew, right? Like, that's bananas. That is bananas.
He also did my makeup, you guys.
Also has done the makeup. Right, we got elf ears and wigs and so Robert here bought a full set of chainmail before realizing that chainmail costs weighs 100 pounds and is super heavy and gets you very greasy. I mean, we leaned in and we appreciate each and every one of you being here for the leaning in and your reciprocal leaning. We do a couple of other shows here in addition to this D&D extravaganza that I'm just going to briefly touch on before we dive back in. On Tuesday nights, we gather up community members from our Discord and we run them through video game voice acting. We all pretend to be a character. Right now we're working on Wildermyth, an enchanting storybook fantasy game. But we'll be moving on through Sea of Thieves and all kinds of stuff. If you have an interest there, !Discord in the chat will get you a link to our Discord community. We're not looking for professionals because, we are professionals, but, we're not really professionals, you know what I mean? Come in, have fun, see what we're all about. It's mostly nerdery and bullshit, and I happen to like both, and I run the place, so If you can tolerate me, you'll probably find yourself in good company. And some people can't. That's okay. But now I am rambling. In addition to that, we have our Deadland show on Wednesdays. Currently on hiatus until September. It is being elevated to the same production values. When it comes back, it's going to have like an HBO series Western intro with people like masked off in silhouettes of cowboys, like looking forlorn at sunsets on the horizon. It's going to be wonderful. I've been sourcing train noises just to let you... I mean, it's going to be fantastic. But we've got a couple of cast members swapped out for that. It's going to be a whole big to-do. Look forward to that coming back in early to mid-September. And, of course, every Friday night for the rest of perpetuity, Dungeons and Dragons on Lore, that's right. It's your Friday night, get used to it. You'll learn to love it, I promise you. That sounded, no, exactly as threatening as I wanted it to. But we return to the dense press of trees overhead and the canopy above the Tribor Trail. The sun has started to set ever so slightly off the afternoon peak as we get into the 3 p.m. or so. The dappling of the leaves, darkening the corpses of the 2 horses lying in the trail felled by goblin arrows. Now starting to swarm a little with flies in the afternoon heat.
I'd like to just kind of pat them down with my swords. I don't want to touch them if I don't have to. Just to see if I hear any jangles like coins or see anything maybe worth taking.
Oh, on the goblins? Oh, Lord, no.
Yeah.
No.
Okay,
I
I
mean,
figured as
they're
much.
wearing crude furs and, I mean, carrying the kind of weapons that even a goblin would be embarrassed to, wield. They seem, as a wood elf, right? You have some exposure to goblins, probably not as much as Teleasin, right? But these seem an especially feral lot in comparison. For instance, when you use the tip of your sword to kind of lift the lip of one, you notice the same roughly chiseled teeth, right? Giving it a fierce countenance, but one that must be just hell to actually eat with, right? Like, the furs they are wearing are uncured and rotting, falling off them in patches where they're just rebound to each other with more sinew, like, not elegant goblins by any stretch of the imagination, were there such a thing.
How big are their teeth?
They are smaller than normal goblin teeth by benefit of the amount that's been taken away by the chiseling to sharpen them. But still,
Are they? I was gonna say, are they
couple of
too
them.
small to fashion into arrowheads for my arrows?
I mean, not for hunting small game, certainly. Like, you wouldn't use them to fell a man, right? But if you were, hunting, rabbit, that sort of thing, certainly. But then you have the whole, I'm putting a goblin's tooth into my food thing, which, not exactly hygienic.
Yeah.
That's how you get goblin mouth.
That's how you get gobbo mouth, for sure, yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna walk over to where the horses have been felled across the way, and I'm gonna see if I can't start figuring out a way to get them out of the road so we can continue on. Whether it's butchering them or getting Rife to help move them.
Yeah, you could definitely find a way, probably, I mean, honestly, via butchery, right? They are still whole horses, right? You'd have to cut them into a couple of chunks to get them out of the way.
They're big bitch. Yeah.
Alternatively, I mean, you could hack at the undergrowth, giving a little side passage, right? While the embankment here is steep, I mean, there is enough to circumnavigate with just a little bit of handy work.
I want to take a look at the horses to see how long, if I can figure out how long they've been dead, just trying to understand, because I don't think goblins ride horses.
Right. The goblin...
Follow behind Rife. She's
the
interested in
oh,
the
go ahead,
horses.
sorry. Yeah, as you both examine the horses, it is clear that they are bloated with the gases of decomposition. I don't know if you've ever had the pleasure of being around a dead farm animal, but their legs tend to stick out very rigidly as they inflate. And it looks as though these have been dead 16, 24 hours, probably,
The
no
meat's
more
not
than a
gonna
day.
Be, the meat's not going to still be good.
Not even with some of your ale? Isn't this what you like to drink or eat?
I do not drink stank horses, thank you much. But if I could shave off some of the good flank, then I might do so and dry it. Set it up to dry on the rest of the journey.
Well,
But,
now
if
certainly,
it's
as a person that does stumble across killed meat and harvested, there is a chance with a survival roll that you could hack off some edible bit of horse flank. Certainly.
Sure. I may do that then, just to lighten the load a little bit and help move it out of the way, skin it a little bit.
Yeah. Why don't you give me a survival roll then?
And can I assist?
Yeah.
Talisa?
Yeah. Why don't you give me a survival roll and see if she gets advantage there? Yeah.
As they're doing that, Serial would like to kind of poke the horses, and she
She does
turns
not.
to listen.
Get rid of those digital dice, Matthew.
Right.
Wow.
You gotta change your
Yeah,
dice color, man.
I'm gonna do that.
How about a 17?
Yeah. With a 17, you don't even accidentally perforate its bowel, which was going to be my sinister DM trick there. No, you managed to get some of the inside of the leg there, a tender little strap of horse loin that would cure nicely when smoked over a fire. I would call it 2 days of rations.
Lovely.
Not if you dig deep enough, hands.
So
You gotta
I'll
get under
pick
the
whatever
maggots.
maggots I see off of it.
Yeah, extra protein. It's like Pop Rocks.
You eat your steed here in the Sword Coast?
Not always, but it is in the way, and we may get hungry at some point, and so we don't let it go to waste.
And nature asks us not to waste as much as we can possibly save.
I
Facts.
see.
I look over at Sariel. So, you see what I've been working with.
They seem like good people to me.
You're not even from here. What do you know?
I like how he's like, yeah, see? And then when she's disagreeing, he's like, what do you know?
Yeah. I just disagree. I'm what you call a contrarian. I spent 1,000 years in the Shadow Realm. it doesn't make you nice.
I'm better.
Ariel takes a closer look at Rife, and she's like, "Is there something wrong with your face?"
I don't moisturize, okay? God.
What would that even be in the story? You're just like, yeah, I need sheep fat. All right, like what is that? That's lanolin.
Here,
But-
have some horse blood on that dry and cracked visage.
Why don't we get a... Well, you already gave me the survival roll to 17, Delius, and as you're discarding of the horse innards, right, you notice that there are several signs that this has been a goblin ambush spot for some time. Broken arrowheads, old rusted pot helms, a wagon wheel in one of the ditches long since overgrown. The detritus that would indicate that this was the spot they had set up. And additionally, as your chosen prey, you can't help but notice the pitter-patter of a goblin trail leading off into the brush. It looks as though dozens of goblins have used it off and on for quite some amount of time, clearly from wherever they lair to the ambush spot on the Tribower Trail they've been frequenting.
I see tracks. We could lay waste here to a whole den of those bastards if we really wanted to. I see feet prints.
Is that wise?
Well, I mean, you see what they've done to us. Now, we were able to fight them off, but if they were somebody that wasn't skilled in fighting, they would just do what they've done here to these horses, and they would, take whatever they could get out of the busted wagons and kill innocent merchants and bystanders as they see fit. This is clearly a spot where they like to lay in wait for the unsuspecting passersby.
We're about
look
an
over
hour.
it.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I look over at Sariel and I say, "Don't let Taliesin fool you. We walk away from this cave, she's gonna start getting the twitches. She hates goblins. She wants to kill every last one of them, and I don't mind it either."
I'm not gonna lie. I do hate them quite a bit.
I can see they're foul creatures. I will lend you my aid wherever you go.
What
So
were you
we
saying,
do-
Alistria?
We're about an hour away from
Yeah.
Fandolin.
An hour away from Fandolin. So we do have a couple of options here, right? We can stow the cart somewhere and pursue down this goblin trail, right? We can make our way the rest of the way to Fandolin, right? And turn in the cart of goods, right? And await the people, we're supposed to be meeting Gundarin there, right? I guess additionally, we could just say, fuck all this, take the 100 gold worth of goods on the wagon, flip that bitch around and take it to Baldur's Gate, sell that off, and spend the evening in a pub until the whole thing blows over, right?
I like that.
I mean, there's
last
lots of options. Yeah.
If
Taliesin, would Gundarin be happy if we left his cart? I don't think he would, and he is paying.
well, this is my proposition then. He is paying, and if I'm late or if any of the goods get damaged, I'll hear about it from someone other than Gundarin and someone whose opinion I care for a lot more, namely my mother's. As it is though, it's really hard for me to walk away from this knowing that they're ambushing here, but if we can go to Fandolin, take the goods back, and come back this way and handle this, I think we should. They're just gonna have more out here tomorrow.
I'm all for that. I just would rather not upset Gundarin.
No,
I don't like
that's
the
fine.
idea of innocents dying. I say we take over these goblins.
Don't tempt me. I would love nothing more. I mean, it would be potentially just a couple hours there and back. Their friends might not even know that the four that are dead here are dead. We might be able to do it without them realizing and hurting anybody else, and still get the wagon out of here.
It is unlikely, given Goblin's stature, that wherever it is that they are holed up is too terribly far off of the spot they've chosen to ambush. They're not, they're nimble little guys, but not really known for their endurance or overland travel,
We must not let more innocents fall to these vile creatures.
Rife, what do you think?
Well, I hate to miss an opportunity to kill something, and Gundren also promises me more information, so I don't want to piss him off as little as I care about him.
It's just
So-
a couple hours, Miss Ariel. We could do it and come back.
Just the two of us?
Oh, no, I'll come back. I would just rather drop the goods first.
Do we have anything in the cart that'd be useful in killing goblins?
No, I mean, it's mining equipment, dried goods, like nothing of exceptional value.
No
I mean, the whole
explosives in that
thing.
mining equipment.
The whole thing is 100 gold total, like the full wagon full of provisions. It's real basic.
No, plus 35 goblin slaying crossbow?
Nah, I mean, I left that one in the other wagon.
Shoot.
That's the wagon we didn't bring.
Right.
Taliesin, if you think that the wagon will be safe here while we go deal with the goblins, I'm willing to do it now. I have concerns.
Why don't you give me a survival check?
Me?
Anybody that wants to see whether or not you think the wagon would be safe if you just covered it in some branches right off the road somewhere or something like that.
Yeah, I'll take a look.
Yeah, so,
Ariel, give it a try.
yeah, Rife. 24,
Rife with that
the
nat
natural
20 action.
20 there. Rife, you haven't seen anybody except for the goblins that ambushed you. These horses are a full day dead, right? Like, the trail is fairly overgrown, right? There are pretty good odds that if you took off for 6 hours, right, that nobody would even pass, let alone in this one nondescript section smelling of death, would pause to be like, I wonder if there's a wagon off there in the bush, you know. If you leave a couple of goblin corpses in the road, in fact, if anybody passes by, they're going to be like, well, fuck every bit of that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we could hide it and it'd be fine.
While you're hiding the wagon, I'm gonna. I grab the goblins and I just start kind of arranging them in like like I don't know
In like a serial killer tableau? I mean, was this some Eyes
like
Wide Shut
conga,
shit? What's
like
going on here?
like a conga line or something.
I'm gonna
like
make them kiss.
Like one's hands on the other guy's shoulders.
Right, right. Just making a little goblin human centipede. This'll really fuck with them, right? Yeah, no.
Couple heads on pikes there.
Right, right. No, for sure. No, I mean, you manage. I mean, anybody that comes by here will definitely quicken their step and be disinclined to go searching around in the brush, for sure. I mean, for sure. The blood is still fresh here. There's flies, there's horse corpses, goblin bits, arrows everywhere. Not a let's hang out and get a feel for the vibe check, you know?
Miss Serial, do you have any particularly good disguise skills or spells that you might be able to cast over it to kind of just give it the illusion that it's not really there? After we put some stuff on it, of course, but just kind of give it a little help.
I'm unsure.
I don't know if you do or not. I'm just.
I don't. 10 feet, 1 hour. Now, does she have to be within 10 feet of it for the whole hour? I guess that would be my reading, because it is a cantrip. Yeah, so she could, for 1 hour, be like, there's a bush there. There's a bush there. But she'd have to be standing 10 feet away, which would kind of... It would defeat the purpose.
Fine.
But yes, ish.
It's fine. It's just an idea. So yeah, I'll grab some broken branches. Maybe even some of that horse skin that I tore off. I skinned from it, and lay bloody horse flank over the top, and just kind of go. Well, if they're still interested, then I guess they can get whatever they want.
Right, right. With that,
Wow.
I'm not gonna take a survival roll for it. It is pretty easy to cover a wagon with brush, right? And well-trained NPC oxen that are like, we will stand here nondescriptly until you need us again. I have a D&D style where people's mounts go into a pocket dimension, right? That's where these oxen are living currently. They're in a Pokeball. Everything's warm and happy. The SPCA would love how things happen on the Sword Coast in my iteration. But yeah, everything's chill and casual, and we could go walking down the trail into now the late afternoon sun. We'd call this probably 4:30. Starting to get a tilt to the shadows as they lengthen.
Can I scout ahead maybe 30 or 40 feet to give us a heads
Oh, you
up?
100% can. In fact, I would very much so, as a party, like your marching order. So Alestria has expressed a desire to be well up front. Point man, or lady, as it were.
Yeah, I even though I do some of the tracking, I will go take up the rear.
Holding up the rear.
Serial would like to.
Alice.
Serial would
Go
like to
ahead.
be in front of Taliesin. She wants to be closer to Taliesin. She feels like out of the bunch, Taliesin gives her the best vibes.
All right, back in the back with Taliesin, and where would Rife be then?
All right, so I'll be behind Alestria. Then.
Just kind of holding up the middle.
Yeah.
Sword at the ready. Excellent. In that case, it's about 10 minutes wandering down the trail. Now, if the tribe or trail itself, right, was an overgrown wagon rut in the middle of the wilderness, this is more like a deer path, right? the clearance for the goblins' headroom. Sometimes, they'll stoop down to just a couple of feet. So if it wasn't for, frankly, the favored enemy, being goblinoid for Teleasin, right? It would be very difficult to even ascertain that there was a trail here at times. Why don't you go ahead, Point Lady Elestria, give me a wisdom perception.
That's a 15.
A 15 indeed. I was looking for a 12. You snap your hand up in the air, stopping people right as your foot hovers over a goblin snare in the road. Goblin construction, so certainly not lethal, but boy, that would have been embarrassing AF, you know what I mean? It would be easy to trigger with the end of your sword or something, rendering it harmless for everybody to pass.
Yeah, I just trigger it real quick with the tip of my sword as I stand back enough that I don't think it'll hit me.
Yeah, looks like it would have wrapped around an ankle and ripped somebody upside down 10 feet in the air, which, again, like, boy, to fall for a goblin trap, am I right? Like, that's embarrassing. That's like 6 weeks later, you guys were like, hey, remember that one time the wood elf fell for a goblin snare, right? Like, yikes. But as it was crudely concealed, it was not an issue. And you guys traverse even further down the trail. It widens up here some. The trees still thick off to either side, but what looks like a natural clearing of some loose grasses and light foliage. As I need yet another wisdom perception check from our point elf.
What do you see up there, Alestria?
Quite a bit. I
Ooh!
believe.
Did you see that one just...
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
man, it hovered for so long, though. Man.
I changed the color of my dice. I think it's helping.
There you go. 19 is much better than a 1. Again, you step out onto the ground. Your first step, it's spongier than normal. Your second step, it's only your elven fleet-footedness that allows you to kind of dance across the surface of what is quickly revealed to be a pit trap by it caving in behind you. Some bamboo, well, not bamboo, I guess here, some wooden stakes carved into spikes, and a couple of dead rodents down at the bottom for good measure, adding a certain goblin-like pestilence to the affair.
I will clear the outside of the pit so it's obvious where it's at. So my companions don't accidentally fall into it, and then
Right.
continue on.
Teleasin, this is a much more elaborate trap and indicates to you as somebody with a goblinoid favored enemy that you have to be getting close to their lair. They wouldn't spend this much time on it unless you guys were there. This is good craftsmanship for a goblin.
Yeah. We're getting close, so have your wits about you. Move a little quieter. They've got huge ears, those bastards.
Sariel wrinkles her nose. Is this always how the Sword Coast smells?
It gets worse
Mostly.
around goblins.
It gets worse. It gets worse around a lot of things. I mean, Frank, there are good
does.
smells here, but boy, there's some
mean-
bad ones.
I did just skin a horse, so... sorry.
It's kind of all relative, isn't it? You know, at the end of the day, right?
I'm sure there will be a bathhouse in Phandalin.
I thought you were about to say the goblin hideout, and I was going to say, well, favorite enemy.
No.
You would know.
No.
Factually.
I would know.
There's,
No.
there's going to be no bathhouses, no.
No.
I don't know, maybe they're a cosmopolitan goblin, but that has
They
not
might
been
be. They
what's
might
been...
have a little spa in there.
Right, what's been evidenced thus far.
They use horse blood for their mud baths.
Right. They like to hang out and get dental cosmetic work, get their nails did, you know.
Somebody had to grind all those teeth down to points.
It's true. Well, and that's, I mean, what a fashion statement that shit is, right? I mean, you're gonna file your teeth to jagged points to look more badass. All right, points, Goblin. I gotta give it to you. I mean, that's commitment, at least. Say what you
No
will about
potion
Goblin
needed.
fashion. At least it's an ideology. you know?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Rife's thinking that over. He's thinking about that.
Right. Yeah, maybe if I just filed them the points, they would. Ah! I just picture you like at the campfire one night. You'd be like, "Hey guys, look, like just little spikes, just because you thought it looked terrifying, for sure. No, I love that. Oh my god. All right. It is clear as you come across a broad clearing with a stream on the far end from just the bones and the scattering of goblin bric-a-brac outside. You know, they've erected crude skull totems, you know. There are little tethered bits of soiled cloth standing in for banners, right, that you have come...
Is there a dwarf skull totem?
Well, of course there is. Anything to be as offensive to you as possible. Yeah, you know.
Oh.
No, you have clearly stumbled across what appears to be their hideout, cave entrance with water running out of its mouth, embedded in the side of what appears to be a fairly steep hill for the region.
Do we see any goblins in the area?
Well, I'm about to get to that. But following the goblin's trail, you come across this aforementioned large cave. After nearly 5 miles of traveling, much further than you anticipated, and me having already read this twice, I thought it was like 1.5 miles off the main road. But 5 miles of hiking, I mean, that's a couple of hours of walking just to the fucking cave, is what that's described to us. The shallow stream pouring out of its mouth, and it's screened on either side the entrance by dense briar thickets. There's a narrow, dry path that seems to lead into the cave on the far side of the stream from where you find yourselves. And allow me to toss you mofos on a map and share that bad boy with you. Now, dear audience, this will be the first of our mapless shows. That's right. We use a map for tactics moving forward here in D&D, so we can keep track of how far a goblin is from us and all of that. But we are conveying all of the information on the map to you using the theater of the mind in our descripted prowess. So prepare to be, prefer to be, that's, descripted prowess immediately. Prepare to be tantalized and titillated by the descriptions therein, because
It's not that kind of stream.
well, I didn't say that. I mean, I will get an inflatable pool and I will throw that bitch right back here, and I will do this. I'll take the rope right off. You just start throwing subs in there, whatever it takes. It's not an impressive rack, but I am technically allowed to show it, so yeah. All right.
That was the perfect hand gesture too, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you could cut glass with them, my crab eyes. No. But, oh, Goblin 4 is long since been dead. I don't know why he's still in the combat tracker. Alright, we are maintaining the same energy we had here. We're not falling apart. It's not like 1 in the morning. Let's do it. Yeah. Slap the face some more. But, why doesn't everybody give me a perception check, please?
Nat 20.
Nice.
Oh,
I didn't ask for a nat 20. I asked for a perception check.
You got it anyway.
Wow, yeah. So, holy shit, everybody. Everybody but Rife, right? There are 2 goblins chilling in a blind on the far side of the stream from you. Neither one of them seems especially aware that you are there. In fact, they seem to be squabbling amongst themselves. Now, I forget. Does anybody here happen to speak Goblin?
Let me see. I don't remember.
Giant. It's a giant. It's not going to help.
Giant, I am afraid, is not Goblin, no.
Let's see. Where would that even be?
Be under languages.
Languages
Oh, no,
on... Oh god, what tab is it? Is it skills? No.
Or-
Main? No. Abilities?
abilities.
Yes. The abilities tab of your character sheet down at the very bottom.
I don't. Common, Dwarvish, and Giant.
So none of you
I
can
don't
make
care what they say.
any sense of what they are squabbling over, but it does appear to be 2 human fingers and about a third of a hand. The third of the hand bit has teeth marks in it. I mean, as you close, they are very distracting. Like one of them's hitting the other one over the head, you know.
I would like to knock an arrow and say, if we can get rid of them before they can sound the alarm, we can make this a little easier on things. They haven't noticed us yet.
Indeed, I mean, they have not.
I think I can sneak up there. If you would like to cover me.
I can do so. And so I crouch down behind some type of slight, or maybe beside a tree, and
Yeah.
I draw my
Oh.
bow and I...
You know what would help? If I actually shared the map with you guys, huh? That'd be helpful.
Oh,
There you go. Yeah, maybe behind a tree. I'm like, yeah, there's trees everywhere. You can do it. And then I realized that you guys didn't have that visual information. We did it first show. You know how we do. All right, but
it's a
yeah.
thing.
Goblins,
So, yeah,
clearly. I guess here, I'll
I
actually
point
open
out
that up since you've
if
spotted
my
them.
friends don't actually, if those that haven't spotted them yet, I quietly point to them and I say they're arguing over, they're chittering about something, probably that looks like a piece of someone that they're arguing about. But stay low, stay quiet, and
Yeah, just stealth rolls. A successful stealth roll will allow you to get close enough to attack with advantage. Because they are
That's area.
100% distracted.
I'd like to use my inspiration on that.
Yeah, by all means, please do. Take advantage on that stealth roll. Oh, you will
we
not
all
see them at Moonblade Night. It's just them now. It's a new formula. Anybody that wants to approach close enough to get an attack off. Alestria at 22 there.
Sariel would like to follow.
Oh, I thought that was
Oh,
18 for Sariel.
Sariel, there is a loud snapping noise of a twig underfoot. I don't know if they don't have twigs on the gates of the moon. Maybe they have people that sweep them up. But, I mean, it is a crack, and both the gobos go, blah, right, and turn to look at you. And we
Can
have
I loose
lost...
my arrow?
Yeah, but without advantage. I'll allow one off here before we roll
Sure.
for our initiative. You had it right there. Good to go. They can't
let's
still
not
react to it now.
Uh-oh. I think they heard me.
We'll talk about stepping on sticks another
Yeah.
time.
Sticks
Oh.
later.
I didn't drag it over. Let me drag it over.
That's
with
all
me.
right. Arrow loose. 18, striking the Goblin in the neck as he inhales to begin the warning shout. But only heavily wounding him with 5 points of damage. He still is unable to scream. You know, he has an arrow in his throat, right? He's not going to be like, la, 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 right? But,
Go, Lestria, go!
right, certainly not feeling good as we enter initiative here. And it's actually Rife that will be up first.
Awesome. I want to drink my potion of badassery.
Oh, my.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Hold up my chain so the book's dangling on the end, and make it look like Sariel's spear to the goblins.
Oh, yeah. Well, now, it won't quite make it look like Sariel's spear, but as you whirl it through the air, it makes a much more pronounced and deep woof, 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 right? And, your hood falls back, right? And the late afternoon sunlight hits your skin that reveals your grim rictus in such a way that makes you quite an adversary to the goblins as they backpedal.
All right.
You will have to
And then,
cross the stream and either charge through the thicket, which is I have to turn off the lock here. Which is, of course, it's not dangerous terrain. It's difficult terrain.
Difficult.
Right, or you can wander around it and just go in through the opening there.
All right. But I don't think I can make it one.
Oh, maybe not either, huh?
I think I'm gonna just end my. I kind of charge toward them. Because I'm actually like, after having dispatched them so easily, I've just not taken these goblins as a threat, and I'm just whirling my book saying, "That's the sound of your death." So I'm just gonna like march forward and just
Both the
ready to
goblins
hit a
are very
goblin.
relieved they don't speak common. But you find yourself standing in the stream outside the thicket. The water here runs cold and slow, about 2 feet deep, coming up to almost your knee. And next up, there are, I mean, the goblins are like, well, that sucks, right? We were here fighting over hand lunch. All of a sudden, dude shows up swinging a book like a madman. They're definitely not pleased, but, Serial, yes.
Serial is pretty upset that these goblins had been ambushing innocent people.
Right.
And
clearly of the same brood.
She holds up her hand, and it starts to glow in the middle of her palm. And she would like to aim for this goblin that's closest to the thicket.
Yeah.
And she would like to cast her Eldritch Blast at that goblin.
Eldritch Blast, lashing out from your fingertips. I believe we previously described it as having a rainbow iridescence. Was that correct?
Yes, rainbow iridescence. It's kind of like Iron Man, you know, when he gets ready to shoot his palm.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
Excellent.
And
oh, you have the
this is for this
repulsor blast.
innocent soul.
And misses. Searing a hole through the foliage in front of him, he manages to duck out of the way of the beam of rainbow light piercing the air, leaving Alestria up next.
So just the trees are difficult terrain, or is the water also?
The trees and the water are difficult terrain.
Then Alestria will come around the other side.
To the north?
Yeah, to the north where there's an opening in the trees.
Right.
Before the cave.
Right, banking in between the cave wall and the brush, finding the entrance to the clearing. Are you just blocking it off there, keeping them from finding egress back into the cave mouth?
And as she gets over there, she'll begin to dance by swinging her swords and moving her feet a little lighter.
I'm just picturing the Charleston. I don't know why right here. Like, every time you say dance, it's a different... I mean, you've done the Macarena for me with swords so far tonight. You've done the two-step, the Watusi. I mean, it's, you know... But, excellent. Goblin number 2 is going to, like, notice that you're up there, you know, again, doing the shuffle. Right? And is going to attempt to attack you, running up with its scimitar and stabbing. Again, not understanding the barbarian combat mechanics at all. Missing you broadly due to, again, not understanding the erogenous nature of your hip thrusts as you do the Elvis.
Well,
and
those hips don't lie.
So. Those hips do not lie, in fact. However, he is going to use his nimble escape trait to disengage as a free action and try and pull back to the relative safety of his buddy in the thicket. Talaesin, you are up.
All right. Seeing as there's lots of trees, kind of, because they were in a bit of a blind, and I can see them, and I was able to get a shot off at this angle before, but I am going to move around a bit to try to get just a little bit of a better angle on it. So I'm going to move. I'm going to kind of sidestep this direction here, and then So I'm going to move closer to the opening of the cave, over to
Right.
where Alistria has been dancing.
On the
And I'm
far
going to see
bank
if
of
I-
the stream from them, yes?
Yes, on the far bank of the stream. I have not crossed the stream yet. Don't cross the streams.
Never cross the stream.
Never.
Can I use my inspiration on
You can.
this attack roll?
By all means,
so
drop it and you get
Remind
advantage.
me what that does.
Gives you advantage. So spend the
Okay,
inspiration and then ADV in the bottom left before you roll. And it'll automatically do the fancy 2 dice, take the highest.
Fantastic, thank you. Let's see. So yeah, I've got Blodwin's Reach. I've already got another arrow knocked, and I'm aiming again. I'm probably gonna try to put one in the one that looked like he was gonna scream when
Right.
I hit him earlier.
The previously wounded in the neck one.
Yeah, Goblin one.
Excellent. And at the 24, I mean, what do you like? Robin Hood the arrow there, the one in his neck. You just
I
split
just
it.
right through it again and just split it out a little wider,
Yeah.
and just silence whatever was on his lips.
Indeed it does. Not even a gurgle as he falls to the ground. 2 arrows jutting out of his throat. Maybe if you spoke Goblin, you would have been able to hear him go, kinda overkill. Alright, but you don't. So, gurgle, gurgle, Goblin dead. And
You killed my grandfather!
you killed my grandfather! Probably not, frankly, but again, that's fine. And Taliesin, filled with, again, you love injuring goblins. I mean, you're up
if I
first
can
yet
hurt
again.
one, I just have to go again. So yeah,
Right.
I'm gonna make eye contact with his friend as he
Right.
surveys the carnage of his fallen friend, and I
Right.
gonna say, "You next," in Giantish, because I can.
Right. We don't speak that either. There seems to be a language barrier issue.
Oh,
And a
dang it.
9 will not do it, I am almost
not
certain.
hit.
Yeah, no. He manages to dip out of the way of the arrow, just in time for Rife to be standing knee-deep in the stream, not 10 feet away from him in the thicket.
Yes. So I exit the stream. I kind of crash right through the thicket out into the clearing next to
Right.
the goblin. And I snarl at him. And because I speak giant too, I'll be like,
Jesus.
just mainly for Taliesin's, her ears. I'm like,
Yeah,
now you're gonna die. And I take my book and I just swing it and I just kind of bring it like crashing down on his head.
The goblin's like, what kind of creature do you think I am? As the 17 strikes true. And again, I mean, how many goblin skulls have you bashed in with this book now? This is 4 tonight?
That's number
Yeah.
4.
I mean,
it's a good weapon.
it's starting to get to be a thing. I mean, so the combat music stops. I mean, because there's nothing left to do. All right, record scratch. Rife kind of breathing heavy again, gore dripping off the end of that thick novel.
You taught that bastard how to read, didn't ya?
Now that's a joke.
Now
That's a joke. I say it. I look at Sariel. That's a joke.
Oh man!
Can you imagine that stand-up comedy routine?
Yeah.
That's a joke. Laugh.
Right, like blood dripping off the book. Ha ha ha! Just.
Real backs away, like
I got to admit, I was like, is Rife like a little too one note? I was thinking to myself, right? No, it is chef's kiss. It's a perfect note, right? It might just be salty, but it's like that Himalayan pink salt, right? That they would wrap around a lamp on some white lady's Instagram account. It's the real, salty lamp. Himalayan lamp salt is what that is. It's wonderful.
Just had one of those massages, those Himalayan pink salt massages. So
Wait, they massage you with the salt now?
hot stones of Himalayan pink salt.
Oh, and go
was
ahead
nice.
and take a halfling tier tea there, Taliesin, for your joke from the audience
nice.
there.
Thank you.
Inspiration
Nice.
whenever you drink it, just bonus action. Oh, look at that. I get advantage
Nice.
on my next roll. But with that, we have goblin corpses steady running stream and a cave mouth leading upwards into the inky blackness. Now, this inky blackness won't be an issue, of course, for our elf, our dwarf, or our Azamar. However, our reborn fighter here just has blind fighting, so while he is great at hitting things that are like actively trying to hit him in combat, very much so not great when navigating the difficult terrain that is the entirety of the interior of the cave here, right? And the pitch black can't see your hand in front of your face that, comes in about 20 feet into the interior space.
When I go into that... Oh, go
Smells
ahead.
horrifically a goblin, by the way. I mean, the
Sure,
whole thing just
sure.
reeks of it. It's
I just look at Sariel and say, it's going to get worse. It's just the way it is.
an acrid,
and I-
thick ammonia stench of old piss and, rotting flesh, and they do not keep house.
Not
When
sure I like this Sword Coast place.
Well, we're stuck here right now. You didn't have to drop from the sky, I don't think, but you did.
Right. Right. Choices were made, Lass. Yeah.
Yeah, I was born here. You fell out of the sky here. Just saying.
Maybe pick a better travel agent, Like,
When I get to the mouth of the cave, I will kneel down. I'll probably cross the stream and kneel down. And I'll take my pack off and looking around with the dark vision. I do want to look around and see if I see anything dangerous, immediately. But I will bring out a torch for
Indeed.
Rife and light it.
Peering up the main passage of the cave mouth, you see that it climbs very steeply upward. I mean, quite an incline, right? The loose footing on the east side of the passage, just a narrow footpath alongside the stream that, given the incline, starts to rush a little bit towards the mouth of the cave as it goes downhill. There are passages in the shadows running off the west side and the east side on either side of the stream. The east one closer, the west side about 20 feet off into the gloom.
I will take your lead.
Yeah.
Sariel would like to, again, stick closely to Taliesin.
Yeah. Alestria, do you mind taking point?
No, of course. I'll head in first.
Thank you, Predator Rejects. Appreciate you. Hell of a raid.
Nice.
Thank you. Shields up, y'all.
Shields up indeed. But just inside the cave mouth, to the east, there are a few uneven stone steps that were clearly hewn from the bedrock by goblin hands. There is a small, dank chamber at the end of the passage. It narrows to a steep fissure at the far end, and you can hear the sound of animals in rattling chains from within, a low growling noise, and the stench of wolves, dogs, dire wolves, owl bears, a general wet animal stench.
Do I recognize the sounds of the animals?
Ooh, why don't you give me a survival check?
Do the animals sound like they're in pain? To Sariel.
No, they do not sound pleased, certainly. You would, aggressive kind of snapping noises, right? Like they're fighting amongst themselves. Not like whimpering, though, or anything like that. Alestria, with a 12, you can narrow it to dog, wolf, dire wolf.
Then I will... So this is straight ahead and to the right, is that correct?
Straight ahead and to the right, just about 10 feet inside the mouth of the cave, up just 3 crude steps, yeah.
I will lead to that area and take a look in.
Yeah, therein, you see there are 3 wolves chained up just inside the opening to a stalactite, or excuse me, a stalagmite, because I know which ones come out of the ground, right? And they appear to be chained in such a way to have the entire length of their chain snap just short of the entrance of the place. And of course, they all go to the length, echoing in the confines, yes.
I'm going to turn to Teleason. Give me the horse meat.
Oh, okay. And I pull my pack around again, and I take out a hunk of horse meat that I'd wrapped in some of the horsehide.
Do you eat
Excellent.
that raw?
No, but
I
they
do
will.
not.
I'm going to toss it out for them to eat.
Yes, in fact, why don't you give me a wisdom animal handling check?
I prefer something different. Nope.
Oh, so close. So close. They snatch the wolf or the horse meat out of the air before it even touches the ground. One of them first, the other one grabs a hank of it. They tear it in two parts, fight amongst themselves for a second, and as quick as it was there, it was gone.
Oh.
Does it calm
Now?
them at all?
Not on an 8, I'm afraid.
That's fair. That's completely
You
fair, yeah.
actually canonically lowered the DC to 10 from a 15 by feeding them.
And
I
then
felt
still
I
botched
felt
it.
good about it. I felt good about it, and then 8. Yeah, so
Okay,
Oh, whoa, friends! It's all right. Uh, are they making enough noise that I'm worried that I might be worried that somebody will come looking for him?
So there is the fissure in the back of the room that seems to lead up to another area, and they are growling and snarling and being aggressive. That being said, that was pretty much the state they were in when you showed up. And there is the rushing of water from here, while you're not reassured by the fact that the dogs are alerting, right? It's not,
Sure.
it doesn't, oh shit, ready yourselves, isn't the gist.
Okay. Well, I have more if we need to give it to him, but I think we should just walk on.
You could also attempt an animal handling check. Maybe they prefer dwarves to wood elves. I
mean,
do.
I can try. I can try. I don't
Serial
have
would
a
like
good
to
roll
try.
for that. Okay.
Serial would like to.
Yeah, animal
well,
handling
yeah.
is what we're looking for.
All right.
Oh well, I got a
Oh, yeah.
17.
Yeah, no, in fact. Oh, no, Serial. They rip your arm off. No, it's a good thing that Teleason got in there to calm them down, right? Yeah, they seem to respond much
well,
better. You
we-
didn't throw it in there, right? You wandered in there and gave him the sniff and then handed him the meat. And Serial comes in there, and had you not calmed them, they certainly would have snapped at her with that 7, right? Even worse than the wood elf. But yeah, they seem calm enough, right, and occupied enough with the meat. Not that they're friendly, right? They're not like, hey, let's be buds.
No.
Right, but they will allow you to, move through the room without being assaulted by them, should you so choose.
See, the
Okay.
beasts here are savages too.
Some are, others are not so much.
Some, these belong to the goblins, and you saw how they treat each other. Can you imagine how they treat their pets? These are probably their mounts, to be quite honest.
Indeed, that is likely the case. They ride them, yeah.
So, the you said there's a like a crevice at the back, or
Yeah, it looks like there's a narrow opening in the east wall, like a natural chimney formation in the rock that
Okay.
somebody could shimmy up should they so choose. That being said, it is about a 30-foot climb to where it breaks into the cavern wall and recesses into another place. So would you to slip during the, the scaling of the thing, it would probably be less than awesome.
this is I am definitely small, but I am not that small. I think we might fare better going out to the other side as we were looking. There's another hallway across the way.
Yeah, we'll go that direction. We can come back to this.
Backing out to the main passage with the stream running
There's always a
down
chance that
through
maybe
it.
we can escape through that way. If we get up there another way, we might be able to quickly slide down.
Yeah, the main passageway again here, where the water isn't flowing, is very difficult going. The passage is choked with rubble and has
Does
steep
this count as
escarpments.
mountain?
Boy, no, it's cave.
Okay.
Uh,
Because mountain is my favorite terrain.
right, and I mean you're inside a hill, but cave is also a favorite terrain. So I mean
Sure.
it defaults to
Sure.
cave.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to ask.
Close though. Close. I mean it was. I mean I gotta give you points for trying even because in a certain interpretation, aren't hills just old mountains? You know.
Right. You know.
But
So if I move up, oh, go ahead.
I would like a stealth dexterity check from everybody, taking into account the disadvantage from the terrible going of the terrain.
Do we have disadvantage on this?
Yeah.
Oh, you have
Yeah.
a disadvantage? Okay.
Oh darn.
Well, we got a torch. We got, rubble. We got all kinds of factors here.
Yeah,
impeding
we're
our...
making ourselves known.
Oh, so yeah. So mother of God.
Oh, except for Serial.
Sarah, where was that stealth earlier? Where was
Right,
that?
yeah, where was it? 18 earlier on the disadvantage. So we got, a 3, a
from that
6, and a
branch.
7. Yeah. Cool. So the stream continues on up another step of uneven stairs. All right. When I need a perception check from everyone.
Oh, I'm doing terrible.
No.
Not great. Taliesin on the 22. Wonderful. Next closest to Serial with 10, who is not gonna do it, if I'm afraid, in time. Taliesin, the water rapidly picks up current speed, right? You notice 1 second, it's flowing pretty rapidly given the hill. The next second, your path is narrowing, and in fact, there becomes a roar as the passage seems to fill with water sloshing around the corner and coming at you in a white water rapid.
Get off to the side and hold on. Find something to cling to.
Indeed, you had noticed, so you can give me a dexterity saving throw. I am afraid everybody else, as best you can do, is try and cling on to something as hard as you can, and I am going to need strength saving throws from you. Teleus and the 17 will allow you to find a purchase on the wall above the point where the water comes rolling in. I am afraid the strength checks are harder than the dexterity check. Alestria, Rife. Oh, Serial, damn, man. Serial, you sink
fine.
the spear
ground.
sinks into the cave wall, right, and you just weather the storm. I am
I knew
afraid...
I wanted that spear.
Right, spears come into handy there, right? It was a DC 15 on the strength check, and both Rife and Alestria are swept away in the current, taking 1d6 bludgeoning damage along the way. I'll just go ahead and 3. Boom, 3 damage to each of you as you tumble down, ass over tea kettle, back to the mouth of the cave. And you hear echoing down there shouts in Goblin. You know, they clearly spotted you guys. They had some kind of booby trap set up. They have sprung it on you, and as a result, you have taken 3 damage. Serial, you are very wet, but otherwise none the worse for wear. Teleasin, like I said, you managed to just hop onto a little ledge and
I just pick up my feet and I'm holding on.
Ooh. Just picture you just kicking your little nubby legs just above the white water rolling. Yeah, no, it's perfect. Perfect. But a very saturated Alestria and Rife get washed back down to the mouth of the cave.
Will,
Yeah.
did the damage show up? I put the damage in D&D Beyond. And
Mm-hmm.
It
And
didn't show up earlier for mine either in the overlay.
Is it not? Is the overlay not functioning? My God.
I see it in the combat tracker.
Well, in the combat, that means we can see it, right, in Fantasy Grounds, but this is my first attempt to use the D&D overlay. My God.
that's
And it's
why I
not
wanted to say
functioning.
something.
Excellent. We'll have to take a gander at that next week, but Yes, they each have 3 wounds, which at level 1, isn't nothing, frankly. Or 3 points of damage, because this is an attrition-based health system, and there isn't a wound tracker, because it's D&D and not Savage Worlds. But with that, you guys are able to pick yourself up and, kind of, squeegee out your garments and proceed. But with the knowledge now, of course, that everybody in the cavern is, they know you're there. That wasn't no accident. I mean, maybe the cave just floods every 5 minutes, but it seems really unlikely, yeah.
I look over to Alistria and say, "Do you want to go back to town now?"
It's just a little water, a few scrapes and bruises. It's not that bad.
Can Sariel listen and see which tunnel they're going to be coming from?
Ooh, you could try and give me a perception check with disadvantage. It is just hard. I mean, it's echoing around in there. The water's still starting to lower again. No, clearly goblins in there, though, from the sound of the voices.
We would do well to find a place to take cover if they're coming through.
Sariel would like to just immediately start backing out of the cavern towards Alestria and Rife, towards the mouth of the cavern.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they are bottlenecked if we head out that way.
They are, in fact, bottlenecked, but unlikely to sally forth, too. I mean, why would they give up the home field advantage, right?
Sure. I am going to, perhaps stupidly, I'm going to duck into this passageway off to my left, or to the west.
Yeah, off to the west, indeed. Again, very steep going at points. It narrows to just 3 feet or so across, and you have to get on your hands and knees to climb. Squeezing through a little, one of those claustro... You ever see those people spelunking, right? And they're like, I have to take off my helmet for this one so they can, dislocate their shoulder. And it's my idea of hell, right? Like, nah, dog. No, I don't even want to go in a full-size cave. You're not gonna... No, you have to hold your breath for this one. The fuck I do? No, I'm gonna stay out here. You take some pictures. I'm just gonna hang out here and be not interested in whatever the fuck is on the other side of that, personally. Right, but like that. I mean, you have to squeeze through to find purchase. And indeed, as you make your way up the first ledge into the second area, you can see the dim glow and smell the smoke of what you assume to be a campfire emanating from what you're assuming to be the room ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I stay out of sight, and I keep beyond the edge of that dim glow, so I'm still in the shadow. But I take a chance and I whistle once, hoping towards the mouth where my friends are.
Why?
Do we hear that?
Why though? I don't know. Well, first off, why don't you go ahead and give me a survival roll with disadvantage to emulate the southern cave sparrow. Right, that the goblins wouldn't be alerted by.
Exactly.
Right.
Can I give her inspiration on that?
Are you familiar with the
I'm going to take my my draft of halfling tears, my tea.
There you go. Knock back the halfling tears and prepare and more halfling tears. So go ahead and put another one in your inventory because they were just bought up for you. They replaced that.
Yeah. Just a second. Fantasy Grounds is hitching on me, so I've got to wait for it to get to me.
It's all right.
There we are. Okay. So
Excellent.
survival
with disadvantage, because again we are emulating the southern cave sparrow.
I drank my thing, so it should be a straight roll, right?
Oh yeah, just straight roll then. Yeah. The halfling tears are so salty and warming.
It's a 12.
That's a 12. And you know what? I was looking for a 10 because I am a kind and generous DM, and they claim that is average difficulty. All right, I think it's low, but Yeah, but I am, as a kind and benevolent GM, going to need to hear just a little of what the southern cave sparrow's call sounds like.
Rah!
So breathy, wistful caw is
I don't know.
caw.
I don't know
is
why
what
I
you
can't
guys
whistle.
hear.
I usually can.
Echoing.
I think she's breaking wind again.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that was, but maybe she needs help.
See,
Is what-
A goblin just thought he was ripping ass, and that they
Right,
completely
that's,
ignored it.
Right, exactly. You guys, of course, interpret that as the universal symbol for move ahead.
mean-
We've got this.
Alestria might have heard me whistle
Yeah.
like the southern cave sparrow more
Right,
than once.
right, for sure.
I
It's a
definitely heard Talason rip ass.
I am
Yeah,
going to need
it's like,
your
that's a good sign.
perception. I mean, was it so good that you actually mistook it for a southern cave sparrow, Alestria? You give me a
No.
Yep. That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
yeah.
No idea what that was.
You go, huh? Normally goblins would have driven out the southern cave sparrows.
Yeah. Oh,
Takes
well.
a second to kick in. There will allow that narratively just to be humorous as opposed to game blocking. But yes, and then you go, oh no, wait, she's still in there, and often does a perfect, I mean, a one-for-one, spot-on image. I mean, southern cave sparrow right there, boom, done. You know, bin it. So with that in mind, are you proceeding back into the cavern depths?
I will
Excellent.
move into the cavern and watched her. I watched her go in that.
Yeah, with your dark vision, you saw her take the side passage off to the left, leading up the escarpment.
I will motion for Rife and Serial to follow.
Did someone have a torch, or was that Alestria who got
I
lost?
gave you a torch.
You
when we
were
came
carrying
in.
the torch, but, obviously, there was an incident.
Sariel turns
Oh,
around.
true.
She turns around to Rife, who's behind her, and she says, "Do you need to see?" And she taps him on his head, on his hood,
Mm-hmm.
and she casts light on his
Oh,
head.
my. Now, Rife, she touched you, right? And then she cast light on you. You know, light, I mean, you know. I'm not trying to claim it's like the exact opposite of what you're about, but your head is like glowing, right? Like, I mean, she touched your head, poof, whoa, you know, nothing.
It's supposed to
I
be
guess
like
it could
those
be.
miner hats, you know? Like where they're wearing those miner hats and the light just...
I guess reading over it now, no larger than 10 feet in any dimension. So, frankly, you could touch him and he lights up like Times Square.
Okay.
He's just like a
the
nightlight
Rockefeller
if you
Center
want. Yeah,
Christmas
he's just
tree.
wandering around, just glowing everywhere. Just. Now you can see though.
All right.
One more detail, Serial. I'm sorry. The light can be colored as you like.
Okay.
What
It's
colored
gonna
light?
It'll be faintly blue.
A faintly. Yeah, I thought you were gonna go rainbow for sure. Blue's all right though. Blue, there you go. Light
It
blue.
reminds me of
Excellent.
home. Reminds
Right.
me of home.
There you go. The blue moonlight you cast there around you gives you the dim lighting you need to be able to see. Unfortunately, hell on a stealth roll, isn't it? So as you approach the room, people are going to go, that's a blue light, right? But that's neither here nor there, is it? Because you haven't made your way up the passage yet. What are your intentions, blue lit one?
So, all right. Well, I'll follow her. As much as I want to be disgruntled, there is something like otherworldly and you know about her. So
She
I
just
find myself
booped
unable to be
you,
as-
right? You know.
I find myself unable to be as grumpy as I want to, though. But I actually, my token can't see anything.
Click your token.
Okay.
If you're in possession of it, if it has a red circle around it, you should be able to see its line of sight then. Or not actually, because, you know, I don't actually, let me put light on you. And then you should be able to see. I keep forgetting it's your light of view. There you go,
Okay.
poof. Now you can see, yeah?
All right. Yeah. All
Yeah,
right. So,
excellent.
Sariel, are you going to stay behind me, Sariel? Are you walking?
Yes. I'm gonna stay
Okay.
behind you.
All right. So I'll lead the way. Then I see my companions up to the left. So But did you say I need a stealth check?
If you want to progress any further into that room than your light is being cast, which currently is being blocked by the cliff in front of you and the steep escarpment, the second you get into the corridor to the northwest, it would be a stealth check at disadvantage, which, I mean, you're going to immediately fail. I mean...
With the blue light on you.
You're right.
Yeah.
That being said, Teleason, why don't you give me a perception check?
Alrighty, fantastic. How about a 14?
14 will get you the information. There are several goblin voices coming from the room ahead. Hard to make out because you don't speak the language, but there seem to be at least 3 distinct speaking voices. At least, by the way. Let's not take this as an accurate assessment.
Sure. I very, very quietly, or I look over my shoulder at Alestria and Rife. And how many did you say? I'm sorry.
At least 3.
Okay.
At least 3,
And
as
I
many
go-
as 8. How about that?
I wobble my hand in the air as like a so-so gesture, or maybe implying roughly, and I wave my hand in the air, and then I hold up 3 fingers, and I say, and then I kind of point into the I point at my eyes and point into the thing, and to indicate that I have seen
Mm-hmm.
3 or so.
Roughly, yes. At least 3. What's the move, gang? What is the move?
So I will motion back to her. I'm by myself, and I'll like slither in.
Okay.
You're going to try
So
and
you're gonna try to
slide
pass
in on
me?
your belly?
Yeah, that's the I want to sneak in and stay low.
Yeah. Stealth with disadvantage due to the difficult terrain.
I will say, chat did also give him halfling tears.
Oh, did it
Yeah.
as well? In that case, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
you
so-
got another
Yeah, I'll
one
if
go
there.
you
ahead.
wanna
I'll go
use
ahead
the-
and drink it and be just at a normal
Yeah.
roll.
Mm-hmm. Just flat. Shimmying up the steep escarpment with the gravel
That doesn't
going
work.
around.
Doesn't
9
work.
will
Oh, no.
not do it. No, I am afraid. You go to scramble up with your elf-like grace and manage to cook loose a chunk of wall that tumbles and cracks quite loudly into 3 pieces. And, shockingly, from within the room, you hear, "Parley!"
In common.
Common, yeah. Very, very poorly spoken common.
I look back at Rife and I'm like, did they just ask to parlay?
I like hold my hand up the torch up, like I'm perplexed.
Maybe they want to learn how to read.
I'll turn back to Teleason and in Dwarvish say, "Do we parlay?"
I mean, in the most
They're the
general
same
sense.
vile creatures that destroyed innocence. How can we parlay with them?
I mean, they're usually not smart enough to like try to set up a trap and use a word like that. I mean, I'm gonna stay here with my arrow knocked, and I'm gonna be aiming at the one that called for parlay if I saw who that was. And-
Yeah, so you would have to actually come up into the room to make any sense of it.
Oh, okay.
Like, failed that they heard the rocks kick out. They were aware the trap went off. I mean, it's the jig's up. They're
Okay.
trying to,
Save themselves.
goblin negotiate, perhaps. Maybe it is a trap. Who knows? Goblins aren't renowned for their understanding of common. And Sariel and Rife both take another illusion of badass potion.
Nice. If I can get into the room with my bow up, I won't have the string drawn. But let me ask, can I see any goblins when I look into this room from where I am off to my right?
Yeah, I mean, you can peep around the corner at this point. The room is lousy with goblins, for sure. Yeah, they
Okay,
seem
but
to,
would there be any up this hallway to the northeast?
none that you are aware of currently. No, it looks like that
Okay.
would be a free egress, at least as far as you can see around the corridor there.
Okay, well,
You know,
I'm
it
just
has
going to
that
keep my
natural
back to the
bend,
wall.
so.
I'm going to keep my back to the wall here, have my bow out, but move out of the way so my companions can come in.
Yeah. Are you guys going to climb up the embankment and enter the goblin-filled room? So, indeed, there are 5 goblins in there, all gathered around a campfire. Well, it's a cave divided in half by a 10-foot high embankment. A steep natural staircase leads from the lower portion to the upper ledge in the south. The air is hazy with the smoke of the cooking fire that the 5 goblins to the north have surrounded, and pungent from the smell of poorly cured hides, unwashed goblins, and whatever it is they have been dining upon. Standing on top of the ledge is a slightly larger goblin, if you could call him more well-appointed, right, than the others, given the crude nature of his accoutrement. Right, you would. I mean, he clearly has some status amongst them. Some bone pauldrons made out of the skull tops of other goblins adorning each of his shoulders, right? A necklace of black feathers similar to the ones that they use for fletching adorns his chest. And he points at you with the end of his goblin scimitar, and then points at himself and goes, "Yemek! Yes, yes?"
Was that in Goblin or was that in Common?
No, common. The other ones don't seem to speak common. This one seems to have some kind of grasp of it, though.
Is that your name?
Yemek!
Yep.
You! Parlay! Barter, yes, yes. From
What
the
would you
shadows,
trade?
he reaches behind a stalactite and drags out a human male. Appears to be about 50 years of age. Looks like the kind of fellow that would generally be well kempt, but has a week of growth of stubble on his cheeks. One of his eyes is bruised and battered shut, swollen a giant goose egg. His lip is busted up, and he seems to be cradling his left hand, wrapped in bandages. I'm not sure from where you were you could see the extent of the injury, but they are stained crimson and glisten wetly in the light. Whoever this gentleman is, he does not appear to be faring well.
What would you ask in trade?
Yemek, big boss. Kragma, boss. Clark, no big boss. Yemek, big boss.
Okay.
Kill Clark. Yemek, big boss. Give man, yes, yes.
Where's Clark?
The man seems to come to. He says, "Fuck this goblin. Don't trust him. You quiet, yes, yes. Clark in cave, other side. Leader cave, yes, yes. Yemek leader, big boss."
I'm
Look
gonna.
at- yeah, go ahead.
I drink my potion of badassery, and I kind of walk into the room. I hold up my book and I point at the goblins, and I'm like, 4 dead. You lie to us. You're next.
5.
So first off, that's 4 more than Yemek can count to. All right, so I mean you're just whoosh, right? But the potion of badassery, I mean the firelight glints as like some of the goblin blood drips on the floor, right? I mean it is, you exude a menace that he seems to respect in a crude kind of reptilian brain sort of way. Kill Clark, Yemek big boss. Take man.
I'll look back at Teleus and wait for her decision.
You know me, I'm always down for killing goblins.
Take too
I don't know
long.
if we
Kill
should trust
man.
him.
Eat man flesh. Yes, yes. Decide now. Yemek, big boss.
I don't think it's wise to trust these people. These goblins. They don't seem
I'd look at-
civilized to me.
I say to Taliasin and Giant, why not just kill all these and then go find this Clark and kill him too?
Yemek
I
speaks
responded-
giant. No, he doesn't.
In Giant,
trilingual.
in Giant, I respond, I'm game. So, yeah,
Well,
I will,
folks, that leaves a choice here to make. Do we trust this goblin? First of all, right? No, right? I mean, never try goblin's machinations, right? You want to really engage in goblin political intrigue? No, you don't. I mean, that never, right? But it seems like if you do make a move aggressively, that he would have time to run this fellow through, you know? So, I mean, he does have at least that going on leverage-wise. Do we care about this fellow? I mean, it's likely he's from those horses. Would he have more information about what's going on with the ambushes in the area? Maybe he was headed to Phandalin. No other reason to be in the woods. But that leaves us with a lot to chew on as we leave this cliffhanger right here. Dun dun dun! Oh, that's right, folks. Somehow we've made it. That's we're 30 seconds short of midnight, guys. That's it. That's our dramatic first episode of Dungeons and Dragons Rod of the Seven Realms. Thank you so much for joining. I mean, wow, the support has been tremendous. It was so heartwarming. You guys should have seen me over the break. I mean, I literally squeed and did a little dance. It was very encouraging. Each and every one of you make this possible. I have months of story arcs planned off. We are switching DMs in this thing. I mean, this is a grand sweeping epic that you will be able to look back and say you were here for the start of, and goddamn, we appreciate it. I mean, just fantastic. I cannot wait until next Friday night to continue this story in front of each and every one of you. Seriously, you make lore happen. Join the Discord. Come nerd out with us. We play video games. We talk comic books. We do art. We make music. We do everything nerdy and fun. It's real low pressure, though, so don't join it if you don't want to. I mean, you can be too cool for us. That's fine, you know? It's like, it doesn't matter or whatever. You know, I don't care. I can normally hair flick, but I'm wearing a wizard hat right now, so you have to imagine me just casually flipping my bangs out of my eyes. But from the League of Gentlemen Explorers, may your dice always...
Raconteur.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you.
Shame
I am
on
so...
you.
hailed
I
to
am
the
in the
old
League
days.
of Gentlemen Explorers for like a decade now. What the hell? The League of Raconteur Explorers. Lorca's Gentleman was just so like... I don't know, I shave my neck, you know what I mean? Like, I got a beard, but it stops at a certain point. You gotta ixnay the gentleman. But for the League of Raconteur Explorers, may your dice always roll hot. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see
night,
you
y'all.
next week, guys. Have a great night.
Night.
Thank
Nice,
you.
thank you.